Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Timcast IRL. It's Friday night. Things are going to get spicy, but before we start the shenanigans, we got to get a word from our sponsor.
It is Beam Dream. Head over to shopbeam.com/Timcast and you get to 35% off your nighttime blend to support better sleep. I am a massive fan of Beam Dream. I drink it every single night. It helps me sleep. It's improved my sleep score. I wake up feeling better. And it's got all the good stuff in it. It's got magnesium, it's got melatonin, it's got L-theanine, it's got reishi in it. And the best part is it's a delicious cup of hot cocoa with a bunch of different flavors. They got cinnamon cocoa, they got brownie batter, sea salt caramel, variety pack. You can get them all. Chocolate peanut butter. That's great. They even have a melatonin free if you got concerns about that one, and a salty dark chocolate. I drink it every night. Seriously, there's no added sugar. It's 15 calories. And I'm not even kidding when I say it does absolutely improve my sleep. When they first reached out to sponsor us, they sent us these samples. I tried them out. I'm like, we'll see how it is. After a couple days, I woke up feeling better than ever. I didn't even know I could sleep better. So check out shopbeam.com/Timcast. Shout out Beam Dream for sponsoring the show. It is bearskin. Oh boy. My friends, you've heard of the bearskin hoodie because you watch the show, you know, and you need to get one now. Ooh. Smart people are grabbing theirs now because when it's already freezing, you want the gear that actually keeps you warm. Bearskin is running a 60% off deal right now, so you can finally upgrade the sad excuse for a winter hoodie you've been suffering in. You've been suffering, trust me. These hoodies are built for serious cold weather. It's got 340 GSM of bearskin fleece, 10 legit pockets, a muscular fit, and even zips into the heavy storm rain jacket to turn into full winter waterproof armor. Whether you're into hiking, hunting, traveling, or just hate being cold, it's the last hoodie you'll ever need. You'll get the free U.S. shipping, fast delivery, and you're finally kitted out properly for winter. So it's a win-win. Do yourself a favor: text the word Tim to 36912 to lock in your 60% off. Again, text Tim to 36912. You'll get a link sent straight to your phone, so you can check it out later if you're busy right now. And when you shop with Bearskin, you're not just getting killer gear. You're also supporting the fallen outdoors and the Hope for the Warriors Veterans programs. Don't wait till you're freezing to realize your hoodie sucks. Get Bearskin now. While it's 60% off, text Tim to 36912. You can also check out BAER.skin/Tim. Thanks for sponsoring the show, guys.
Everybody go support Bearskin. Great stuff. Keeps me warm at night. All right, with all that being said, it's time to start the show. To my right, you know him, you love him, Tate Brown. Tell him who you are.
What is going on, Patriots? Tate Brown here, holding it down. Yeah, just wrapped 2 episodes of Across the Pond going up on this weekend with the great Connor Tomlinson. So be on the lookout for that on the Culture War channel and on Connor's channel. It's going to be some good stuff, and I am happy to be here.
And everybody knows the guy to my left. Everybody give a round of applause for Phil Labonte.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary.
Hi, it's Sulaiman Ahmed. I'm an independent journalist on X. You can find me on X and on YouTube. I'm Sulaiman Ahmed X.
Alex Stein is Marty McFly, and I am Doc Brown. So when we get together, dude, the show goes off the rails. Are you ready to? I just want to talk about conspiracy theories.
Ian
and
drugs.
By the way, I'm at Ian Crosswood, is where you can follow me, dude. Alex.
Well, we have to get a word from our other sponsor. I just want to say and address the Jewish elephant in the room. We love you, Israel. You are the promised land. You are the chosen people. You're better than everybody, especially that brown guy over there. So we love you. Down with the brown, up with the Jews. All right, with that being said, guys, we have Sulaiman on here, and he said something very interesting before we started the show, is that he's kind of libtarded and that he disagrees with what ICE is doing currently in America. So I think this would be a great time and great place to start with, personally, people are mad at Donald Trump because he's not doing enough when it comes to protecting ICE in Minneapolis. Me, I'm kind of of the opinion, it's like, I don't love, people getting shot in the face, but I don't love women driving over people either. So I guess my point is, Sulaiman, what do you think about Donald Trump and his support or not support of ICE?
Yeah, I think the way the entire situation has been handled has been extremely incompetent and extremely bad. So there's 2 ways of dealing with this issue. Either you just leave it, or you deal with it in a very systemized, harsh manner. And what harshness means is not shooting someone in the face, right? So just think about it when you deal with a kid. You can either, so my children, I've never had to hit them because they know what the rules are. They understand what it is. and then they know they won't break the boundaries. But when you basically deal with the issue that you did, where you're basically sending ICE agents in and you're basically doing it based on some kind of propaganda that Nick Shirley's put out or whatever it may be, it's just going to ferment the situation and make it a lot worse. So therefore, you have to either go in harshly or light. In addition to that, what happened was with the ICE situation of shooting Renee Good, again, I think it was done intentionally in order to ferment these riots and ferment hatred by both sides, because a very easy way to de-escalate the situation was you wouldn't have JD Vance coming out and fighting with a lawyer on X. You would just be, look, we need to work out what's happened. We're going to investigate the situation. There'll be an independent inquiry, and I think everyone will be happy with it. What's happened is, what it seems to suggest is that what's happening is the people in charge, whether it's the Vice President of the United States of America or DHS or whoever, are trying to hide or take cover for the ICE officer, and therefore people are like seeing this as a state-sanctioned hit.
What did the ICE agent do wrong?
Shoot her.
Well, to Tate's point, why did he shoot 4 times?
Three times,
I can kind of understand. No, it's actually now it came out. Look it up there. Now
okay.
they said there's 4 shots. I only saw
Really?
3 too.
I only saw 3 as well.
I only saw 3. Supposedly, I just read today that there was actually 4 shots. But I guess, was 1 shot not enough, Tate?
No, it doesn't. Well, when you're dealing with a use of force issue, it doesn't matter. Like the number of times that he shoots is totally irrelevant. Like it's not a
Well,
situation.
that's not true. When a cop shoots somebody, they actually have to put a specific report for actually each bullet
When
that
it's
they shoot.
yeah, but when it's in that span of time, it's considered the same use of force.
Yeah, all 3 shots
Yeah.
were dispatched in like a single second.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying typically in law enforcement they have to do reports for each separate shot.
But from
Fair
different
enough,
angles,
but
right?
still part of
it doesn't matter because it's a use of defensive force, right? The police officer is moving across the front of the car. There's a lot of people that make us think about him being in the car. He was walking around the car. He wasn't posted up in front of the car. He was moving across the car. As soon as she accelerated, wherever the wheels were pointed, it doesn't matter. As soon as she accelerated, he is in a position where he's like, I'm in defense of my life, and he's authorized to use defensive force. That's the long and short.
I think 1 shot maybe was justified, but at the same exact time, you saw Donald Trump say that the guy was in the hospital. Did you see that?
He got hit. Yeah. Well, they bring him to the hospital because he was actually hit by the car, and he's alleged to have had at least. A government official said that he's had internal bleeding. So
according to that, that's according to CBS
okay,
News.
so if you don't want to believe the stuff that the government says, that's fine, right? But we can only go by with the information that
but
we have.
Have to look at who the reporting's from. So the reporting's from CBS, Barry Weiss. That's an important point to note. In addition to that, you've basically got another issue, which is when you look at what happened. Look, his life wasn't threatened. The car was at standstill. No,
It doesn't matter.
Right, but his life wasn't threatened. And the first shot
yes, it
happened,
was. The car was moving towards him. The car
From
is
zero.
The
It was like
car.
literally
The
2 miles an hour.
car is a deadly weapon.
At
right?
2 miles an hour, it's not a deadly weapon.
So the argument that you're making would be the same argument if you said, well, the gun the perpetrator had a gun, but he wasn't pointing it at the officer. Police don't have to wait until you're pointing at a gun at them or you're shooting at them. As soon as the person's in the car, refuses to get out, and hits the accelerator, as soon as the car starts moving towards him, he doesn't have to be like, oh, I know what the car is going to do to defend himself.
So there's 2 points. One thing is her wheel was completely turned.
Doesn't
her
matter.
steering wheel-
We already talked about that. Doesn't matter.
The second thing is he's going at 2 miles an hour. And why that's
Doesn't
important,
matter.
Why that's important is because, for example, I just saw a video yesterday, like, Nick Sauter. Me and him came up together on X. But that being said, I like him. But that being said, there was a video of him literally going faster than that. Does that mean all their lives are in danger? They could have just murdered him? It's
doesn't matter.
craziness.
None of them were
It's 2 miles an
officers.
hour.
There was no
officers.
police
No, but
officer
life in
front.
danger. Your
There's
argument is his life was in danger.
No. The
What about
argument
civilian
is
life being in
if there
danger?
is someone in front of the car. If Nick Shirley's driving down the street, he's not endangering
Nick
people
Sauter.
on the street.
Right.
Nick Sauter. He's
No,
not
there was
endangering
people in front of him. No, so my question to you is this.
But that's
No,
not.
let me
That's
ask
also
you a
not a
question.
police
Let me ask you a
officer.
question.
That's not.
Let me ask you a
also
I'm
a
just
police
pointing out it's a
officer.
false equivalent. We're talking about 2 different
Okay, let me ask you a question.
situations.
So, because you said the cop's life was in danger, if there's a civilian and there's a one question I'm not gonna. If there's a civilian whose life's in danger, are you allowed to shoot the person
Yes.
in defense?
Depending
So
on
that
where
means
the,
based
so the
on your
laws
argument,
depend.
So based on your argument, when Nick Sauter was driving his car, any of those left-wing people could have shot him.
No, because those people were not conducting law enforcement operation.
No, but your argument isn't whether it's law enforcement. Your argument is whether it's self-defense. Whether your life's
Yes.
in danger, sorry.
And,
No.
and I want to make this point as a graduate of the Dallas Citizens Police Academy. And this is true. You can look it up. But in law enforcement training, one of the main things that they teach them is to use restraint. That is one of the most important things, that when you're in a high tense situation, you do not overreact. Literally, that is part of the training. If I'm just looking at it, I would assess that he overreacted a little bit. I mean, I know he got hit by a car, but it looked like he was still on his feet. If he would have got knocked off his feet, then I could have been like, oh man, he really was worried. But he was never off his 2 feet. As a matter of fact,
he shot after that.
I'm saying he had enough of a stable ground. He shot her right in the head, and then when she died, he's saying, fucking bitch.
He didn't know that she was dead then, first of all. Second of all, he just got hit by a car.
But why not let them get aid? I know, but when a doctor comes...
He didn't prevent her from getting aid. That was other police. That was other police officers.
I know. Well, if somebody gets shot and you prevent them from getting aid, your job is to protect and serve.
Okay, so no, what they were doing is they were protecting the crime scene because the police and fire authorities were there. The police had their own EMTs and they were on their way down there. The people that are on the side of the road that are saying, I'm a doctor, you don't know that person. You don't know what they are. You don't know what they're doing. So what you're saying is they should have allowed a bystander to go and contaminate a crime scene. You're not going to do that. The police will never do that.
He also shot the car after.
Contaminate a crime scene. I mean, somebody's dying in a car. I think that you would try to do anything to save their life.
But the point is, there were already EMTs on the way down the street. Right, there were already EMTs on the scene. They would have the EMTs from the police department go down there and say, "Hey, look, we're going to take care of it because if you let someone else go down there, you actually contaminate a crime scene." And whether or not that is something that we like, that is policy with police departments nationwide.
How far were the EMTs? Because I never saw them.
I don't know.
I never saw them either.
Yeah.
Doesn't change the fact that the police will have state officials go to render aid as opposed to bystanders, because you don't know.
Well, Phil,
if a bystander says, "Oh, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to help," you don't know that guy's an actual EMT. You have no idea who this random person is.
What about during the next pandemic? They say that you can't go go play in your band because you're not vaccinated, and then an ICE agent tries to prevent you from doing whatever you legally feel like you could do, and then they shot you. Because this is the problem, is that we say that in this instant, because she's a libtard, oh, we can celebrate it, it's not a big deal. But very easily, this could be turned against us that are either anti-vax or anti-government. So if you can't see
I'm not coming from
like
this.
Jan 6.
I'm not coming from this from a political perspective, because I'm a gun guy. I have a gun on me right now. Okay, I carry a gun. I've gone to multiple gun classes, and the things that you go over in the classes generally are the legalities of what happens if you get into a self-defense situation. And I'm telling you the policies of the police station, or the police department, or actually the feds in this case, but because that is what they're going to go by. We can pick it apart and say, well, he should have this, or that person should have that, or look at where her wheels were pointing, blah blah blah. None of that stuff actually matters when it comes to what the feds are going to say. That's why he hasn't been charged. He hasn't been charged, and this is one of the things that I said day one. I was like, he's not.
No, but he's not going to. But when he's not charged, that doesn't provide proof, because the claim from the left is the reason he's not being charged is because this was state supported, a state
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the claim from the left is, because they're going to claim that it was that the government did everything wrong anyways.
No, but if it was the other way around, you guys, if let's say Biden was in charge, you guys be like, oh, Biden basically is allowing the murder of Republicans.
You can say you guys, but when Ashley Babbitt was killed, I wasn't one of the guys out there screaming about it.
And the second point is, when you look at what he did, he shoots, then allegedly the car hits him, and then he shoots maybe 2 or 3 times more. So 3 times the total. Okay, so 2 times more. So it means, like, for example, his hit clearly wasn't bad enough that he still managed to shoot through through the side mirror 2 more times.
Yeah, I want to know about that. If he's got to explain every bullet, I heard pop, 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 pop is what I heard. He shot her once, she drove and started to drive away, and then he fired 3 more at her while she was driving away.
On the side,
is that to protect, so she didn't pull out a gun and turn around and shoot at him? Is that why he finished her off?
No, it was all within a sec. Like, we're expecting superhuman level. Like, the entire argument is, like, look, we're not expecting perfection. Like, of course, every time there's going to be a police-involved shooting, it's not going to be, like, this beautiful, perfect incident. Like, these things are messy. The reality is, when you accelerate towards a police officer, you need to, like, understand that they do have the right to return fire, because you're using your vehicle as a deadly weapon.
If a cop thinks you're coming at him and they shoot you, and then you turn and run away, and they shoot you 3 more times while you're running away, is that murder?
It all depends on what the situation is.
If it was like 5 seconds gone by, there could be a conversation. But again, we're talking about, like, in the space of a second, this is all going on.
To your exact point, if the police believe that you are if you're running away with a gun, right?
They'll finish you off because they think you could turn around and shoot.
Hold on, let me finish. Yeah. If you're running away with a gun, the police can shoot you in the back because there is a reasonable fear that you are going to cause harm to someone else.
And that car is a 2,000-pound bullet, basically.
Hold on, let me finish. If you don't have a gun, then the police cannot shoot you in the back if you're running away. If you have a gun, because the situation is there a reasonable fear that you're going to harm someone else after the engagement?
So is someone driving a car away reasonable?
Is there a reasonable fear he's going to be hurt? Oh, come on.
I don't think that. I
Yes,
don't
that's
think
why the police. That's why the police.
The context I'm talking about with Ian is different from the one that we're talking about.
Yeah,
with the car.
yeah. With the car,
No, but
he
I'm
didn't
saying
see
he
a
didn't-
gun. Wait, hold on. Let me finish this. She didn't see. The cop didn't see a gun. He had no reason to think that a car driving away from him was going to cause immediate threat to anybody. So why did he fire those extra 3 shots? It felt like he already had decided he's going to kill her.
A car that's being pursued by the police, that's why they have pit maneuvers. Because, again, a car on the loose, being pursued by police, that is going to be considered a threat against the public. And that's why the police have the authority to conduct pit maneuvers. So if you're going to say, well, he has zero right whatsoever, again, this is all in the space of a second, so I think this is a moot point anyway. But even in that instance, then you have to be against, like, pit maneuvers. I mean, these are things that the police
pit maneuvers
use
isn't
to...
shooting the driver in the head. That's different.
It's still, like, there's still a threat of
It's
death
a
involved.
non-lethal way to
definitely.
get them.
Pit maneuver is absolutely
Pit maneuvers
lethal.
is intended to be non-lethal. You're supposed to run their car off the road and arrest them with a pit maneuver. If you want to kill him, you could kill him.
The pit maneuvers are done at like 60 miles per hour.
Yeah,
and
it's not
the
ideal.
police are making the calculations to probably kill them or severely. The purpose
the goal
is
is not
to your
to kill
point,
them.
to your point, they actually make it in some states. It's not. You're actually not. Cops are not even legally allowed to chase people on motorcycles because they
That's-
don't want the person to die on the motorcycle.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'm
you
just
got
saying.
somebody a serious felony crime, but they're on a motorcycle and they don't want to chase him, so that person dies. So why do they try to respect his life in that situation, but we don't respect Renee's good life?
Well, it's more about the point of these operations are about incapacitation. So you're trying to incapacitate the criminal in whatever manner that
not
looks
kill
like.
though, right? You're supposed to do it in a non-lethal way.
No, you need to do whatever you can do
no.
to incapacitate the criminal, whether that's death, whether it's not. That's besides the point. The point is
Well,
protecting
wouldn't you
the
say
public.
that they should err on the side of non-lethal
No,
force?
because this is the shoot him in the leg argument that you're making. You can't when you're using a gun in a defensive situation, you shoot to stop the threat. You don't shoot to.
Well, then why didn't you shoot her tire out?
Why didn't you shoot him in the leg?
I mean, that
The
would
point
require
is you can't
Rambo
do
level
that.
abilities of
The point
of
is that is
talent.
Well, when you choose to be a cop, and I know
No police
they have to be
officers are trained to
superhuman,
do that.
but I don't think anybody's asking him to be superhuman. I just think that if you just look at it, and I get it, there's everybody can watch the same clip and have a different interpretation of it. It's like if you're standing across the room from somebody and I draw a 6, it's going to look like a 9 to somebody else. So people can look at the same exact thing and have a totally different interpretation of it. But when it comes down to it, Tim Dillon did say it best. This is an ICE agent. This guy's like basically a fake cop. You know what I mean? He probably signed on for the $50,000 bonus. I don't know
That
how much time he spent. How much time did he spend in the
He
field?
deployed to Iraq. He was
Even worse. So you got a guy. So you got a guy with PTSD.
So okay, so
No,
listen, you're just giving him PTSD.
No, okay, Phil, every soldier. Have you ever watched
that's
Caleb
not
Hammer's
true.
podcast?
That
Have
is
you ever
not
watched
true.
Caleb Hammer's podcast?
It is not
Have
true
you
that
ever,
every
just
soldier.
answer my question. Have you
I know
ever
what I know
watched
who
Caleb
Caleb.
Hammer?
I know
And
who Caleb
what
Hammer
happens
is.
whenever he has a military vet on? What do they say?
I have.
They're on disability.
No, but again,
every veteran is on disability. You can look it up. Over 90% of veterans
if you've
are
been to
on
Iraq, you have
disability.
PTSD.
So he has PTSD.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm making fun of you.
No, I guarantee. Well, look it up. I'm just saying.
No,
the
but
majority
Alex,
of
you're
people
right.
that go serve in the military, they get disability for the rest of their life. Why do they say that? Because they say that they were near a bomb and they had PTSD. So that's even worse. So we're giving a guy a gun that probably was shot at, that probably does have
So also
PTSD.
he had
and so now he's nervous because he's thinking it's an Iraq, and really it's some lesbian broad.
This is
But
totally
Alex, he did have
fabrication.
No, it's
PTSD as well.
not. It's
He had
not at
additional
all.
PTSD because 6 months earlier, what he did was there was a criminal whose window he
Now we're just
smashed
making things up.
into. He smashed into the guy's window, and then the guy drove off and dragged him around the street, and he had a lot of injuries. So he already had PTSD from that as well, and I think that's why he acted in a kind of insane
So you're
manner.
thinking
So you're
this ICE agent is scared of a car driving at him because
Yeah, it's
of a
like 2
previous
miles an
incident?
hour, bro. I wouldn't be
Everybody's gonna
scared
be
of it.
scared of a car driving.
So then,
2 miles
does
an
he have
hour.
PTSD and he was afraid, or was it not?
So
Which one is it?
So he had PTSD. He shouldn't have been there. It was irrational to be fearful of a 2 mile an hour
So you're
car.
saying
and
this
he
reminds
shouldn't
me
have
of that
killed
time I got hit by a car. I bet you're just admitting
Yeah,
that
it's
he
like
wasn't.
two-
He wasn't
it's
afraid
2
of
miles
being
an
killed.
hour. I would
This
not
is
be afraid of a car coming at 2 miles an
into-
hour.
it's
I
ex-
just sidestep,
This
bro.
is
Yeah, you should
degraded
be.
into,
Could trample-
into
run right over
applying
you.
2
things
miles an
to the
hour.
It
guy.
happened in
Well, how about
Baltimore.
this? How about answer this question? If he was just totally justified, why didn't other ICE agents shoot at the car?
Because he was the one that was
he was
directly
the
in
guy
front of the
right
car.
there. There was
He
another
was
guy
the
right
one
there.
in front of the car.
Oh, so he's not allowed to mitigate the threat? So the other cop's not allowed to
Because
mitigate
the
the
whole
threat?
argument's based on
You're telling me
self-defense.
another cop... Oh, so you're telling me another cop couldn't protect another cop? Is that what you're saying? That's illegal?
I'm making the argument of
No,
self-defense.
you're retarded. No, what I'm saying is if you're a cop, you're supposed to enforce the law. So if you see another cop potentially getting hit by a car, you pull out your gun and you can shoot him, and he would be just as justified as the person that's getting hit by the car because he's a law enforcement agent. So if you're going to tell me that a cop
Alex,
can't prevent somebody, another cop from dying,
That doesn't
you're
cha-
wrong.
That doesn't make the guy that's in front of the car. That doesn't mean that he's not allowed to use force
I know,
to
but
stop
I'm saying,
it.
why didn't the other guy start shooting as well?
I don't know, but just because the other guy didn't start shooting
because he didn't lose his
doesn't mean
mind.
that the guy that's actually in front of the car doesn't have the right to use force.
You know, Sulaiman, you said that the car's going at 2 miles an hour. Yeah. I think it's important to realize the car was accelerating at the guy, so he didn't know how fast it was going to hit him at, and it was a couple of 1,000 pounds. And it's like, if you flag a cop with your gun, you pull out a gun and you wave it past him, he's going to shoot and kill you. It doesn't matter. That's accelerating a car towards a cop is flagging them with a gun.
But Ian, he didn't even get knocked on the
She
ground.
wasn't accelerating towards her first.
He never
first of
fell
all.
down, though.
He was in front of the car.
I know, but the car went so slow, it didn't even knock him off his feet.
I wasn't referring to you. I was referring to,
I'm
to
just
what
saying,
Sulaiman said.
he didn't even fall on the ground.
Hey,
So the car
and when
was
you
down.
flag a cop, you didn't even shoot him with the bullet. You didn't even intend to.
No, but you got
because
a gun. This one she was just driving off, and he actually came from the unsighted because he came from the right. So it's highly likely she didn't even see him. That
She
means
was looking right at him in the video. If you look at the
Oh,
video,
yeah, sorry, she was. Yeah,
definitely looking
and
right
then
at him.
when the first shot was fired, his tires
No,
were
you're
pointed
right.
straight.
Apologies. Yeah, you're right.
No,
She didn't
good,
see
you're
it. Yeah,
good.
but she turned the. Sorry, I meant she turned the
She
wheel
was turning the
completely.
wheel as the shot, but when the shot was
No,
fired,
she
the
turned it
first
first. She turned it
when the
first.
first shot was fired, you can look in the video. The tires are pointed directly
and
forward.
the cop
No,
couldn't
they're not.
see the
first-
wheels. The
what
cop was
happens
looking
is
at her.
What happens is skids, and then basically she turns it to the right. But the
Again,
wheel she's turning right from the beginning. I'm talking about the wheel, not the actual wheel, but the actual
Getting
steering
into
wheel.
the granular things like where the wheels are pointed doesn't matter. He was in front of the car and he felt like she was going to hit him because the car was coming at him. That is what justifies a use of force. Like all of the other stuff, like all this, like, you know, why didn't this guy do
There's
this
no
and what happened?
justification for 2 miles an hour. Because then what you're saying
Okay,
is,
I'm gonna say it again.
Yeah.
He felt like he was in danger,
And
and
so-
so he used force. That's how the law is written.
and then
That is
based on
why-
what you're saying, right? Because we have just already had this conversation. If a normal civilian feels like they're in danger, he accepted
in
that
a
you
use
could
of-
also shoot.
in a
That means you're
use-
saying in Minnesota now, people like Nick Soto, when they're using their car in the same manner, they all could be shot. All the reporters could be shot.
In a
That's
use of
crazy.
listen, no, in a use of force situation, the person that is defending themselves does make the decision as to if they believe they are in threat
Imminent
of
danger.
death or serious bodily injury.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's a
Some of them are
difference
there.
between a mob surrounding a car and chucking stuff at it, trying to reach through the windows, break the windows. There's a difference between that and a actual law enforcement operation.
But if
They're
you-
two completely different situations.
No, but the situation is different. But the similarity of the same thing is where you believe that your life is in danger. That's the point I'm honing
Right,
on.
if you're standing in front of a car and Nick Sorter stomps on the accelerator, then yes,
Then
you
you
can
can
shoot
shoot
back.
him.
But if you're with a mob attacking his car and then he accelerates,
Yeah.
that's not a self-defense situation.
Why
That is-
not?
that's
If there's more than two,
because
one
you
per-
engaged it.
So if there's more than one, well, the police engage as well. But if there's more than one person in front of the car, then it's no longer your life's in threat.
No,
Let me
if
ask
you're
this
in a
question.
mob
Let me
attacking
ask-
a car.
Tate, let me ask this question: was Ashley Babbitt her death was it justified?
So-
this is filled. I don't know
Yes
the
or
I don't
no?
know the intricacies of
It's a
the
very
actual-
good- it's a very good
time out,
question,
Tate. See,
bro.
no,
Very good
Tate,
question.
Tate's
Yeah.
not
So
act-
listen,
no, he's
she
not
was
acting
there.
naive, but look at
She
this.
was-
See,
I was
Tate-
like a sophomore in
See,
college.
but this is my problem. This is my
I'll answer
problem.
the
is that
question
you
for
can't
you.
see.
I'll
Tate,
answer the question
you're
for
not,
you.
You're not smart enough to realize that what's happening with ICE can be done to you. It can happen to you. It doesn't matter if you're a libtard. Doesn't matter if you're conservative. The government can do something wrong to you.
Well,
So the government's not perfect. That ICE agent's not perfect. And
They
an
can't
agent
when you
should
don't
be
drive
held
your
to a
car
higher
at a
standard
cop.
as a law enforcement.
Ashley-
Okay, but was Ashley Babbitt justified to be murdered?
So she was going into a place that she shouldn't be. The cop was actually justified in shooting.
Okay, you're a piece of shit. I mean, there you go. I'm just saying.
But at least
this
you're
is a piece
consistent. No,
of
but
shit.
I'll give
I
him
mean,
credit. No, I'll give him credit.
I'll
He's
give you
consistent.
credit. I'll give
He's
you credit for being
consistent.
consistent. But
Yeah,
I'm just
because
saying,
most people are
that's
not.
a piece of shit.
Listen,
Hey, I don't think
if
Ashley
you're-
Babbitt
if
should have
you're-
been dead. I
if
think
you're
Ashley
asking-
Babbitt should be
if you-
alive.
hey, if
I
you're
want
asking-
Ashley Babbitt
yeah.
alive. But
I
are
want both
you
of
here
them
like,
alive.
oh, kill that bitch, just shoot another girl.
pull the
These are
clown
women.
nose
We're
off
shooting
for a
white
second
women.
here.
Why are we
Exactly.
shooting white women?
Pull the
You know
clown-
what I mean?
many
Listen,
left.
okay, do the dance and yell and
We're
then
shooting white women.
Well,
Don't you
listen.
think that's fucking
The
weird?
point is, you asked me, was the cop justified? And by the standard of the law, yes.
Well, then
do
why
I
didn't
think?
that
Do
cop
I?
shoot other people? Why didn't he shoot other protesters?
Do I think that she should have been? No. But yes, by the legal standard, Ashley Babbitt, it was a justified shooting. She didn't have a weapon. She wasn't doing something aggressively, so I don't think he should have. But it was justified, just like in the situation with law enforcement in
At least you're
Minneapolis.
consistent.
Yeah, he's
they
consistent.
were justified.
You
I'm
are
telling you
consistent,
by
but-
the law. I think that the cop was right, so this is my opinion, was right to shoot the woman in the car. But I don't think the cop was right to shoot Ashley Babbitt because he.
Well, you just said two
No,
different things.
no,
You
no,
just said
no,
two
no.
different
Let me
things.
finish. I said by the law, not my opinion. I told you.
So they're both
this
legally
is my,
justified.
They're both
Legally,
legally
but you
justified. My
disagree with
opinion
one.
is different. I think that Ashley Babbitt was different because Ashley Babbitt, he couldn't see if she had any weapons on her, and she did not. Okay, so the
There
car
was
is a
mob of
weapon.
People. There was, but in Jan 6, there was people who were aggressive. Remember, they were on walkie-talkies, For example, one guy who I had a debate with, Jake Lang, literally had a baseball bat and he was smashing people
By
up.
that
right?
by
so,
that standard,
so that means, would you think? I would say he's probably got more of a chance of believing. Flip, these guys are battering us.
By that standard,
we're going to be taken out.
By that standard, it would be justified if that was actually your standard. And I'm not saying that this is the standard that we should go. Let me finish.
Sorry.
By that standard, it would be justified to mow all the people down with a machine gun that were in the hallway. And that's not, because again, Ashley Babbitt was trying to go through the window. She put her head through. Now, she may not have been trying to climb through or whatever. Maybe she was, but she put her head through the window into a secured area. That's why legally, not my opinion, but legally it was.
How was the window smashed?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, the window smashed, so then you're thinking, window smashed up, someone comes through. Like, I'm saying, if you be consistent, and which you are, you're basing legally they were justified, but I don't understand the kind of opinion bit.
Because
I don't see the disconnect.
My opinion is because you couldn't see if she had a weapon in her hand. And
but then that's according to your opinion of the first one, that would be good enough to be a threat. That you don't know, like the mob's attacking you, the window's broken, she comes through, she might have a weapon on her.
No, because if you can't see that she has a weapon, the one in Minnesota, the car is the weapon. So she obviously has a weapon. She's behind the wheel of a car. She's in control of the weapon. The one when it comes to Ashley Babbitt, she's only putting her head through and he shoots her in the neck. So you can't see if she has anything in her hands or if she has a weapon. So that's the difference.
So your position is if a mob is attacking you or one person from a mob attacks you, then you can only shoot if you see a weapon.
If they're attacking you, you can shoot to defend yourself, but they're attacking you. That's the difference.
Well, that's what the police thought, didn't he? That's why he shot.
There was standoff distance. He didn't know that she was attacking. Anyways, I don't want to sit there and pick apart the Ashley Babbitt thing. That's pointless. That's like this is.
I think I'm justified in like not having a position because it happened like 4 years ago, and then we're comparing it to something that happened last week.
You have opinions on stuff that is much older than 4 years.
I know, but this is a specific shooting from 4 years. I was like a freshman in college. I wasn't there. I'm sure if I was politically active, I'm sure if I was politically active at the time, I would have like a hot take on it. But
you can't have an opinion on it because you were young when that happened.
I'm just thinking, if he had legal justification.
Do you have an opinion on the Holocaust?
Yeah, I do. I have some very hot takes.
I'm just saying, you weren't alive there, and you got some hot takes on there. So, I mean, it's just like, let's not act naive, Tate, because you want to try to, you have to pretend to be MAGA or else you're going to get in trouble. It's like, you can actually just say how you feel. You don't have to worry about getting canceled. You can try to be.
I legitimately don't know anything about the Ashley Babbitt case.
So you have no opinion whatsoever?
I mean, I kind of take Phil's position. If it's like, if he had a legal use of force, then he had legal use of force. I mean, what are you going to do about it?
I guess what it comes down to is I'm just worried the government overstepping how much power they have.
I get that.
Well,
I totally get that.
Alex,
that is the biggest threat.
If that's what you're worried about, I have good news for you. They're gonna, and they've got all the guns.
I know. That's why the Second Amendment is so important. But I just, I guess when it comes to this incident, I do think that he was probably justified in shooting one time. Then he shot 4 times. And then after, and he calls her a fucking bitch. I thought that's a little unnecessary. It shows that he was actually very angry. And that you guys say he got hit by this dangerous car. He never even fell on the ground. So people getting punched in the face get hit harder.
You can see his feet skid back because it's on ice.
Yeah, but he didn't even lose his balance. He never lost his balance. So he got hit so hard that it didn't even knock him over.
But there's this like almost the exact same situation happened in Baltimore like 3 months ago, and the lady got completely crushed by the wheel.
But I'm saying he didn't. I know, but that might have happened. But he did not get
because
crushed.
He didn't know if he was going to have
He barely got dinged and then was able to scoot around, get in a shooting stance, and blow the girl's brains out between her eyes.
He did with like one hand, and his feet were skidding
and he was
back.
holding a cell phone at the same time. So he was, he had a cell phone in one hand, a gun in the other. He's getting hit by a car that's going so fast that he didn't get knocked on the ground.
And he's supposed to hit a tire then?
No, I'm saying he probably shouldn't have shot. He probably shouldn't have brought out his gun.
Guidelines, he's meant to scoot over.
We're expecting like James Bond levels of maneuvering from this guy.
They're just running interference for the.
No, I'm not trying to
He should have 360 ladder stall.
I'm running interference now for libtards because I don't think a guy that didn't get knocked on his feet shouldn't have blown some lesbian's head off. I mean, give me a freaking break.
Who's got 3 children?
I'm anti-violence. Like, I'm not one of these people that ever going to cheer for somebody dying. I think dying is bad. I think when people kill people,
I agree,
that's
it's a tragedy. Like it's a sad thing.
I've never was like
this is a great thing.
That's the
problem.
A
lot of people are. I'm
not here to defend those people. I'm just here to say like we shouldn't just throw this guy in jail for self-defense.
I didn't say he should go to jail.
There should be an independent inquiry. That's the thing. There should be an independent, fair inquiry.
They'll find the same thing. It's literally.
But that's fine. But right now it looks like state-sanctioned murder.
No, it's not.
I mean, you believe that, but that's what it looks like.
I'm just worried because there's going to be another pandemic. There's going to be another time that they lock us down where we disagree.
This is definitely
going to
happen. It's definitely.
And maybe it's not an ICE agent, but it could be a Department of Homeland Security. It could be martial law in our own city. And I don't want to live in a city.
Do you
where
think
I'm
the
gonna
left, like the way that they use force is dependent on what the right used?
No, but I'm saying.
Of course, it's escalation. It's escalation.
It's not.
Actually, I actually wrote this down. To your point earlier, and I wanted to get back to this. You mentioned how they were carrying this out, right? And it was because of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were escalating. And that escalation is what brought it back to my mind.
Oh, that should
so that was one of the first things you said.
Yeah, I did,
if that were the case, then why is the cities like Memphis and New Orleans, who have police forces that work with the administration, have no riots like this? Right, so the police force doesn't inhibit the federal government from doing its job. They don't have the mayor and the governor getting out saying we need to be out there and resist and blah blah blah. It would be my opinion that the reason that this is happening is because the governments in the states and the cities are not helping the federal government because they're sanctuary cities. That's illegal in the first place. There is no right for a city to be a sanctuary city and to ignore federal law. They're supposed to help. So if your point actually held water, then Memphis and New Orleans and other cities that have had ICE go in and help and remove illegals, those places wouldn't have had smooth operations that you didn't hear about on the news.
So actually, what you said actually adds to the argument that this is a possibility, because in reality, if you've got the mayor who's against you, you've got people in authority who's against you, you've got Waltz against you, you've basically got a standoff between the two, and then it does become a politicized situation. Now it's just become left v right. There's a battle. Everyone's going out on the left and protesting. Everyone's going on the right. No one sees it.
No one's going out on the right and protesting.
You've got reporters. You've got Nick Sauter and a few others.
So they're opinion journalists, but they're not out there protesting.
No, but they're escalating the situation is what I'm trying to say. So in reality, when I say the other side, you've got ICE and these reporters who are escalating the situation. And so in reality, what
ICE
it does
isn't
is it
escalating
creates
the
a
situation.
quagmire
ICE is
for a fight
carrying
between
out
the
their
left
job.
and right. And the reason they want that is because of this separation. They want people.
This does not have to be political. There have been.
It's being politicized when the president of the United States of America comes up and says it.
This does
Who's
not.
more political than the vice president?
This does not have.
And President
This
Trump
does
is
not
actually in
have
the
to be
hospital.
political, because there was a time in the United States where the entire country agreed that we didn't allow illegal aliens to just come and stay in the country. And
Everyone agrees
ICE
with
was
that, but not murdering people. Everyone agrees about the illegal.
No, everyone doesn't agree with that.
everyone agreed, they
And
wouldn't be
people are literally
protesting.
holding signs that say.
I'm saying everyone here agrees with about
But
illegal
the
immigration.
people that are made
The majority of
political are the
Americans agree
people
as well.
that are saying abolish ICE.
No, that's fine. There are people abolish ICE. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this issue isn't solely about immigration. The larger issue is that they believe on the left, I know you guys are on the right, but they believe that this is state-sanctioned murder. So you need to get out your kind of MAGA box and see what the other side says.
But it doesn't
and see
matter
why
what they
this is
believe, because
escalating.
they're just going to say that no matter what. Look, they called Donald
when the
Trump.
president
No,
of
they
the
were
United
calling
States
Donald
and the
Trump a
vice president are getting
Nazi
involved.
before he did anything. George Bush was a Nazi. Mitt Romney they called a Nazi. The
literally.
most vanilla conservative you can ever.
Guys call
So it
them
doesn't.
communists.
No.
Like anyone who disagrees with you is a commie on the left. Like everyone does it. You both do
Listen,
the exact same thing.
deflecting from the point doesn't change
it's
the
not,
fact.
You're demonstrating that you do the same thing.
No,
it's not
it's
deflecting.
not. It's not the same thing at all, because the left has been, like I said, the left called Mitt Romney the most vanilla politician in America, the most inoffensive conservative there is. They called him a Nazi when he was running. They called
Yeah,
John.
you guys
I'll
call
pull up
them
a picture.
radical leftist
They called
communists,
John McCain.
Islamists.
They called John McCain a Nazi, and then when Donald Trump came on the scene, they were like, "Oh, we love John McCain." They don't believe the things that they
You
say.
guys literally do the same thing. For example, you guys call Mamdani an Islamist when he believes in LGBTQ and all these kind of left liberal woke things.
Correction,
you
I
guys
called
use
Mamdani brown. That's much different.
Yeah, that's you, but
I heard
I wanna make this point,
people
Tate,
call
and I wanna
Mamdani a
ask Tate.
communist. It's pretty discouraging
and
because
they
he's
call him
not.
they call him an
So
Islamist.
look,
and he's not
if someone is a
Islamist.
member of the DSA,
No,
if someone is a member of the DSA, is it out of bounds to call them a communist? Democratic Socialists of America.
They're not communists. No, socialism is different to communism.
Only because the goal of socialism is communism.
No, it's not. You could
Lenin
believe in
said that. What are you talking about?
what?
Lenin said, Vladimir Lenin said
okay.
the goal of socialism is communism.
Yeah, that's
Lenin doesn't speak for socialism.
Exactly.
That was his idea.
Yeah, that was his own position. And you've got different forms of communism as well. But the point being, socialism is a very different structure to communism.
That's like saying that Hitler doesn't speak for Nazism. Right, like,
That's like-
if Hitler said
That's like
something,
saying Trump
it's okay
is a
to
Nazi.
say no. It's
That's like
not.
saying far-right
No, it's
Trump
not.
is a Nazi.
No, it's not.
Or
Because
Nick
if Hitler
Fuentes is a
said
Nazi.
something, it is reasonable to say the Nazis say. right? And if someone says, I'm a National Socialist, it's reasonable to say, well, you're a Nazi, right? That's
so
reasonable.
For example, one of my friends, like Jackson Hinkle, are part of the ACT, the American Communist
Jackson
Party.
Hinkle.
That's communism.
You're
but
friends with
socialism.
Jackson Hinkle?
Yeah, he's a legend.
He's not a legend.
Yeah, he is.
No, I like him. We've had him on the show before. He's
Future
cool.
president.
Oh, dude, I didn't know you were one of these guys.
Future president. Future president.
Jackson Hinkle. Dude,
Future. We
if
got
he doesn't get bombed in Yemen.
Future. We got Nick. Well, if the Zayus let him in, it'll be Fuentes v. Jackson Hinkle in a future presidential
Jackson
election.
Hinkle's being held back
Yeah, I know.
by Israel.
Wait,
not
Tate, do you
But
think?
anyway, that's a communist, American Communist Party, not like a DSA.
We're going to talk about communism. What do you think is going to happen in the midterms, though? Do you think that it's going to go the Republicans' way, or do you think it's going to go the
I think the
liberals' way?
Democrats will probably get the edge.
Why
Do
do
you
you
think
think?
they'll get the House and the Senate?
I think they'll get the House. I think the Republicans will hold the Senate. Yeah. Just based on, because we like polling is actually pretty accurate, despite what a lot of people in the audience believe. It's like, no, actually, like polling overcomes vibes.
And like we
yeah.
think it's just a guarantee that JD Vance is going to be the next president, but what happens if
No,
we
I
get
don't-
No,
what
it's
happens
not
if we get
guaranteed at all.
President AOC?
It would be bad. I mean, it'd be bad either way. I don't think they're going for retribution. I think they're going for total victory. And so I don't think it matters what we do. They're going to enact the same policies no matter what.
No, but I'm saying when the people that we don't like are in power, they can use the federal government to come after us like they did during the pandemic or like they did on January 6th.
Yep.
And that's, I guess, what I'm saying. It's not that I'm against Renee Good or for Renee Good or against the cop or for the cop. I can just see that this being used against us on the other side, and I can see how they flip the script. So that's why when we cheer this on, we're cheering on our own demise.
They're going to use power anyway because they want to win and they want it more than we do.
Yeah, so
No, but they'll use
stop shooting
escalation.
us.
They'll use escalation.
No,
so when you
Things
guys
are escalating
when
anyway.
you guys are supporting state-sanctioned murder, they're going to be like, okay, we can do worse than that.
It
now.
doesn't matter what the left says, because they're going to say the most extreme thing about the conservatives anyways. If your argument is we should not exercise power because the left is going to exercise power, you have to get past that, because they're going to exercise power regardless.
My position is...
I'm not a libertarian
so my
anymore.
position is neither the left or the right should be exercising dystopian power, because when that happens,
It's not about
you
dystopian
lose your
power.
right. Yeah,
it's not about dystopian
Well,
power.
the first thing I thought was if a cop puts his hand on my hood of my car and I touch my gas pedal, he has a right to shoot me. And everyone was like, yep. I'm like, well, that's fucking crazy.
Why would you do
Why
that?
would I'm driving down the road in 5 years?
What if
I'm
you
driving down the
accidentally
road
hit
and
the
a guy
gas?
walks out on the street and he puts his hand on my car. He's like, this is an official zone. We're studying a crime. And I'm like, who are you? He's
Okay,
like, don't move your
so-
car. And I'm like,
so Ian-
show me a badge.
Ian-
He's like, don't
Ian,
move your
you're
car.
changing
What,
this-
now I can't touch my
Ian,
gas pedal. I'm going to get
you're changing
legally
the
killed by some
context.
rando.
You're changing the context so much where it's not the
advising
same.
against escalation.
No,
because of
he's
what
not right.
This is a contingent possibility of escalation.
No,
random
look,
dudes
Ian-
walking out in the middle of the road with their AR.
Ian, it's not random dudes. Those guys were clearly identified as ICE.
As a new form of military branch or some heavily
okay, so
militarized
now-
form of
you
branch.
keep changing the
What if it's a
context.
militia?
No,
What if
you're
it's what?
changing the context. She knew they were. First of all, she knew they were ICE. Second of all, if there's a police officer that says police or says ICE on, and they all wear very clear identification that says they're ICE.
Yes.
Like
so if a dude walks out with some
so it's
very
not
clear
some-
badge,
so it's
She's
not
an
some
American
random.
citizen. She's an American citizen, so she's probably thinking ICE probably doesn't have any authority over
They
her.
said, well, it
No,
doesn't
she
matter
thinks
what she's
ICE
thinking.
is like Gestapo.
Exactly.
Right.
It doesn't
So
matter what
that's-
she's
that's
But not
thinking.
for American citizens. She's probably thinking, as an American citizen, she can do that, but they're going after
No.
illegals.
She
doesn't
thinks
change the
ICE are
fact.
literally like a Gestapo going around like there's some sort of like Nazi death
Yeah,
squad.
against illegals.
No, against everyone. That's the messaging that they get.
Well, now it is because she's murdered an American citizen.
No, they trust me. They believe that ICE are these just like loose cannons, and they're these crazy Trump death squad Megatrons or whatever, which would be kind of based
Against illegals.
Look, but to your point, Ian, like you can't change the context of what happened. If there's someone that doesn't have any identifying markers, and they come out and put their hand on your car and you speed away, no one is going to say you did anything wrong, because they don't have any
what if
identifying
their
markers.
shirt says police on it?
If the shirt says police, like if it just says, what do you mean? Is it like an
Yeah,
official?
exactly.
looking
What do
police?
I mean? What if they have a badge and a shirt that says
That's not-
Policia on it or whatever the fuck?
Yeah,
Well,
okay,
they-
if
the
it's
shirt
a
looks like-
Policia-
What if they they look like a cop?
If they're dressed like a police officer, you should probably do what they're
There
saying.
are cop impersonators that people like just
Look,
pull
you
people
can-
over
you-
that
you-
have fake cop stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
that's-
What if it's a local militia, man? Like, think 5 years in the future of what
Exactly.
you know. You got.
because we're not dealing with hypotheticals. We're dealing
No,
with
bro, it's
women
coming.
driving car. It's already like, okay, what if what if they like develop laser guns and then like start
They already
evaporating
have laser
illegals?
guns,
It's like,
right.
well, that'd be base one. But two,
No,
like,
it wouldn't be base. Like what? To evaporate illegals. This is what I mean. You right wingers
Could
are
be.
flipping
No, we're
crazy.
making a joke.
You
We're
guys
making
are
fun of the
mental.
con. We're making
joke.
fun of
It's a
it.
joke.
So, I mean, you said that at the top of the show, you said that this operation, this whole removing the illegal, you agreed that illegal immigration wasn't good. I think you,
Yeah,
and
of
that,
course. For the work,
that
I support the working
it
class.
needs to we need to either stop trying to get rid of them or do it harshly. What was the word you used?
Yeah,
harshly.
usually tough measures. Because what's happened at the moment is what they've done is they've fermented. They've allowed this incident to occur. Now he may or not bring the National Guard in. Then he'll bring it in, and then things will escalate. And what's happened is that you've allowed this major escalation to occur, or by doing it so slowly in a very small escalation manner, like a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. I think the way he should have dealt with it is saying, look, I'm targeting this city. I'm going in harsh. All these people are going to go in. Then, whereas the ICE and National Guard, whoever it is, will find all the illegal immigrants, will bring them in, and will be very tough that people can't go there and protest. You can't have this escalation that occurs, and you just go into the city and you completely sort that issue out. This escalation factor is that what happens is things ferment, and when things ferment, they become worse, and now you lose control. And then it's like, for example, you know how a father ends up hitting the kid because the kid's not listening, but you only got in that situation because you didn't put the rules and requirements in first. You weren't tough in the.
So when you say harsh, like when I think harsh, I mean, are you talking about martial
murder.
law?
It's a very good question. Not martial law, no. But what I mean is, you would basically, let's just take one city as an example. You'd go into let's say Florida. There'll be a specific area in Florida, whatever the area that there's a lot of illegal immigrants. I don't know what it is. And then you'd basically send in ICE and the National Guard, immediately go in, find everyone, do the operation in a very small period of time. You don't even have time to get the protests and the gatherings done. You completely sort the whole issue out in a very
So
That
systemized
contributes
manner.
to escalation much more
Yeah,
than just expecting local authorities to collaborate with the federal
Sorry, say
government.
that again?
I said that would contribute to like a much higher degree of escalation than if we just expect these local authorities to collaborate with the federal government.
Yeah, I think
I
That's
just
what
think
the
that
Trump-
I see what you're saying, but it's just that fermenting part, isn't it? Because like what's happened now is what I predicted,
But
which
why-
was this escalation that was going to occur. Now the protest, what you'll see is even more protesters are going to be coming,
That
even
was-
more people. And now Trump's going to send in the National Guard, then they'll send more protesters. Then Trump might do the Insurrection Act. It's going to be that just.
So
I think
why
it's
is the
escalation.
impetus on the federal government to disengage when it's the local authorities that are not
Yeah, but-
collaborating with the federal government, not collaborating with the law that, again, the president is sort of trying to enact here?
Do you mean engage or disengage?
Well, I'm saying, why is the impetus on the right and the President Trump and the
Well, some
executive
people
branch to
believe they have
disengage
state
rather than
he's the
rights.
less?
You know,
president.
some states believe they have state rights.
Well, I
like
know
the same
that,
reason
but-
why the federal government has
There's-
marijuana is illegal,
there's-
but in some places it's illegal. So sometimes the state
There's
federal
nowhere
government
where it's
can
legal for
disagree.
illegals
I know,
to
but
come
we're
in.
trying to conduct a federal operation. So why is the impetus on us to disengage?
Oh no, I didn't say disengage. I said the opposite.
I know, I agree with you. I think Trump should go way harder. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, if the goal is to mitigate escalation,
What
then
I was
I
saying,
fear that
Okay, I
situation
get you.
more.
Said. So if you're talking about this specific shooting of Renee Good, I'm saying that was handled really badly because you had the vice president, the president of the United States, come in and basically in support of the guy without an investigation. What would have been smart, basically management, which is what the president is basically to say, look, we're going to look into it. This is the information we've got. There's going to be an independent inquiry. Then the left acting mental would have actually made them look mental. Right now, no matter what you say, because you guys are in your kind of like right-wing echo chamber, both sides, the left do think this is a state-sanctioned murder. And you guys are like, yeah, well, you know, she got murdered because she was going to murder him with a weapon. So whatever it may be, this is major escalation.
So,
Yeah, I want to make
all
this
I've
point
said-
there real quick. I just want to make this point. So when it came down to this specific thing, I don't think this, Renee Good's death was planned. But the people that are really in power, whether you want to call it the deep state, they knew. And there's been multiple deaths
has
now. In
nothing to
Portland,
do
2
with
people
Zios.
died. I think there was another person that got choked to death. They knew when they put the federal government, they put ICE in these cities, that there was going to be something that happens, like a George Floyd-esque situation. They love that this is happening. They love that we're fighting about it, especially after Charlie's death, where all the left cheered that on, and now you have all these right-leaning people cheering on her, Renee Good's death. It just shows the hypocrisy in the situation, and this is all done on purpose in order to divide us. And if we can't see that, and I would say have just kind of you don't want to admit it, but I'm saying, I guess, have a neutral take on this, then you're just kind of feeding into the propaganda.
My question would be, why would the deep state be in favor of immigration?
Because they
enforcement?
want more federal government control. They want more ICE agents.
They want to put Palantir in place. They
and
want
this
to
for the
control
last
you. They want to
six-
put a social credit system
For the
in.
last 60 years, every deep state sort of incentive structure has been put behind mass migration.
Well, of course, exactly. In order to divide us and to make our country have, I guess,
Agreed.
no,
But the division
hegemony or a hegemon, whatever you want to call it. But
Like the more diverse society gets, it's actually easier for ruling powers. It's like a homogenous society is actually
Well,
a
it's
lot more agile.
well, it's about anarchy. It's causing anarchy in the country. It's causing chaos, and therefore, what this does is ferments that. Then you have basically these. I know you think it's whatever, but then you have these extra like Palantir. You have these other situated things where people are being tracked, people are being checked. Then you have social credit score for your safety. When things get worse, what happens is you manufacture. You know how COVID? Everyone got manufactured consent. People, when someone tells you, someone on the left and someone on the right, guess what? You're gonna be murdered. Like the best way for people not to die on the streets is to allow them to do this.
Hold on a second.
People
You guys remember Jordan Peterson, right? Everybody knows Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
Yeah, he's lame.
One of the things that
Addicted to Xanax.
one of the points that he made that was enough. One of the things that he said was like, hey, people have inherent opinions, right? Like they're really based on their personality.
Tate doesn't. He wasn't.
I definitely do. I've
a
always
Trump
been
shill.
I've always been pretty right wing. Even when I was a libertarian, I was a right wing libertarian, right? And so the idea that there needs to be this top down division, I think that's totally wrong. Even in the French Revolution, yes.
Just
Because
divide.
no, because no. Let me finish. Let me finish. You guys made your point. Let me finish. The point that I'm making is people are inherently right wing or left wing generally. Like people do have a certain. You don't think that people
I would disagree. I would say that we're more of a populist country.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I would
I
say
don't
the
think so at
majority
all.
of people are in the middle. The average person would probably be
So,
in the middle.
A
so
normal
listen, no.
person, if they weren't manipulated by a group, would have a mix of views.
No, I don't think so at all. I think that there are people because you go and look back at the French Revolution, right? The people very easily split between the people that wanted revolutionary change, which are like the Jacobins and the people on the left, and the people that said no, we need to stick with tradition. There are people that just have these kind of opinions, and
well, I would
so
disagree. I think Marie Antoinette said let them eat cake, and they're like, "What's this bitch doing? I'm starving. Let's go kill these people." I think that's totally different.
Hold on. There were peasants that did side with the left, and there were peasants that sided with the right.
Probably retarded peasants. But, I'm serious.
I mean, it was it was a long time ago.
Just like now.
But listen,
let them eat cake. Well, shit they went after.
Listen. I'm not saying that there aren't people that benefit from the division in the U.S. and there are people that will foment it because they want to see certain ends.
Exactly.
But the idea that if it wasn't for like the people above kind of pulling the strings that we wouldn't have division, I totally disagree, particularly when you have a country like ours that is basically multicultural nowadays.
Well,
no, you would get division
for sure, but I would say that our tribes do get along. That it's not.
I disagree. I disagree.
Definitely not true.
I disagree.
So you can't even be friends with like a leftist?
That's not about being friends.
It's not friends, but we're talking about like national level cultural cohesion is just not possible. And everywhere you look on planet Earth, like multicultural, diverse societies are dysfunctional.
Well,
like Singapore's like maybe the only exception.
Yeah, so it's not impossible to have a cohesive.
Well, Singapore requires like extreme authoritarianism, which you've said you're against.
I am against it, but I'm just saying. I just think that what is being done is a coordinated attack on us, so that we're fighting each other, so that we don't actually solve our problems. When you see our government, we have a uniparty. What was it? 45 senators just voted to give $300 million to Planned Parenthood, but they call themselves conservative, and they want to go kill babies and give to these left-wing organizations. It's all a lie.
We agree on that.
Well, I'm saying these politicians, it's all fake. Tate. I know. I'm just telling you, it's a uniparty, and we get the impression that it's right wing versus left wing, Macho Man, Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan, and it's all bullshit. Because they're on the same team because they're going to the locker room at the end of the day, and they're having a beer together, and they're laughing because they get all the money, and that's why Ilhan Omar goes into office, has $100,000 in her bank account, and now she's got $30 million. That's why Dan Crenshaw has become rich being a politician. These people do not give a shit.
What would a right wing populace and a left wing populace? What overlapping goals would they even have?
I think a lot of goals. Other than
so many.
I think most of the goals they would
besides like vague, like eat the rich or get her like reshore jobs.
That's not big. That's huge.
I think affordability crisis affects everybody. So you don't think we have an affordability crisis that affects both sides?
Right. Yes.
But so would you say that the leftists and right would agree that
he was talking about earlier in the French Revolution? Those were the ones that were saying eat the rich. The idea of eat the rich would destroy the country.
Well, and what I'm saying is, okay, the reason I say they're vague is because the times that vague goals overlap, they have two completely different ideas, policies that they're proposing to achieve that.
Really,
Yes.
other than trans and abortion, a lot of leftists and right-leaning people actually agree on a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
That's
anti-war.
where- I think
Well,
that's
No,
where
these are not the only two divisions.
Like
They have fundamentally
anti-war,
different worldviews.
Like also
What,
anti-war,
with the
like
gay stuff.
People on
and-
the left wing view people as blank slates, and then people on the right view people as part of larger hierarchy. This is like the foundations of political philosophy.
I don't know if I agree with that.
People
Well,
are
that's why
somewhere in
people on the left
between.
are typically not religious. People on the right are typically religious.
Well, there are people on the right that aren't religious, but
I know there's
regardless-
exceptions, but they don't disprove the norm.
I think
Well,
people.
I don't even know if the majority are. I don't even know what the majority breakdown is. But if you do look at, like, we talk about Israel a lot. They were all left leaning, and then now that the conservatives support Israel, and now they've all become conservative. Doesn't that seem kind of weird? Like, they obviously didn't have a political party if they donated to all these left leaning places, and then now Donald Trump is, sympathetic to their support of Israel. And now they're all becoming conservatives. You don't think that
people like
Oh,
people from Silicon Valley, Bill Ackman, Elon Musk. He's talking about
You
those
can
type
just
of
see
people.
how they can flip flop, so it's all
Right, well,
bullshit.
yeah, I mean, they're-
Like,
they're-
you can be a leftist one day, and the next day you can donate $20 million to Trump's
Well, because they
campaign.
have one issue,
Exactly, but I'm
but
saying
that's separate from like.
Well, they don't have one issue. Like Elon Musk, it's not just the Israel issue. He's got the like H1B
Well, Elon Musk and
visas.
Bill Ackman have two completely different end goals.
True. So I'm talking about Elon Musk and Silicon Valley. Their issues are basically cheap labor.
Well, even within, to a degree, yeah, but even
cheap
within Silicon.
labor, Israel, basically Zionist control of the United States of America, implanting like this tech into the country, making sure AI, and they have the basically control over what happens with AI. AI is the future. That's very important. Having control of the data centers, hence why Greenland, all these things can be issued. So them moving
Greenland's
to whichever party.
geopolitical, not about AI.
It is about AI.
It's about the trade routes that are opening up.
Would you-
in
Probably
North.
both.
I'm just
It's both.
so.
Probably a little bit
Do you think Venezuela is a part of the Silicon Valley cabal that's running?
So Venezuela, I think, is first of all, I think is sorry.
Zionists.
Is the
Well,
Zionists?
even all the people
What?
went on there and said, "Oh, this is so good because Iran won't have oil, Russia won't have oil." I mean, you can't see that China won't have oil. That's why we went there, so that we can our
It's a
adversaries.
geopolitical move, yeah.
I know
Yeah.
to punish our adversaries. That's
Yeah,
why we're
that's-
going
that's
into.
Yeah, I
the
don't think it
tankers.
is. China's still going to get this. China's still getting the same amount of oil. They're getting the same amount of deal. The reason for that
Iran
was
might not.
sorry.
Iran might be getting less.
They-
No, those
they're
deals are still in
exporters.
place.
Iran's
yeah,
not
Iran
export.
exports oil. But the point is, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying it does. What happens in Venezuela does affect Iran because they have the
drops oil
Hezbollah. I'm
prices.
saying and they have Hezbollah there. So
No,
they're
no,
not-
the main
it
play of
won't even drop.
Venezuela-
It won't even drop oil prices because
Yeah,
if they,
we're dumping oil on the market now. Very cheap oil on the
no,
market.
but the point is they can't dump it because what's going to happen is they've got a large reserve of oil, but to be able to penetrate into that oil and use it is going to take a long time. That's why a lot like now.
He
a lot
already
of
And
oil-
it's funny you say
lot
that
of
because in
oil-
a little bit.
California, oil and gas is still expensive as shit.
That's
So-
California.
I know, but it's a state. Why is it cheaper in Texas and
Because California has their
Also
own
America-
They have a
regulations.
bunch of bullshit regulations
Yeah.
that make it more expensive. Like, that
Yeah,
just
let's
shows you
put
that-
aside
that's a whole
Paul-
different thing.
let-
I
let's-
know, but it's
Let's
bullshit.
put aside Paul Single. Probably he's going to get quite a lot of the Venezuelan oil. But yeah, I think there's multiple factors when it comes to Venezuela.
I think it's primarily a geopolitical play. I mean,
What did you say?
I said it's primarily a geopolitical
Oh, I
play.
think so.
Yeah, I mean that's but I mean that's the long and short of it, right? It's good in multiple ways
Yeah,
for the
it's
United
like
States.
it's like that's
Well,
how, that's how I'd
I don't
expect
think
their
it's.
government
I
to
don't think it's
operate.
good to steal someone's oil personally.
You get the Panama Canal too. I
I
mean, we
mean,
basically
they
secured the
sort
Panama
of
Canal with that.
started it when they
Yeah.
again nationalized all of the oil that
They
the Americans.
nationalized their
We had
own
cut
oil.
deals with these again private American enterprise had cut deals with these different Venezuelan organizations to.
So the U.S.
Extract oil,
basically
and then they
goes to war
nationalize
with
it.
countries for private companies. Oh, sounds a bit commie to me.
Yeah, we
Oh,
protect.
you bet commies,
we
yeah?
protect
Yeah,
American
it's
property.
a merger of corporation and state.
Murdering,
Yeah, of course we're
going
going
and
to
stealing
protect the
people.
American
sound
property.
Sound like pirates, man.
We're going to protect American
Yeah, but
property.
see,
It's
do you
not
not
American
have
property.
a
It's Venezuelan
problem,
property.
Tate, real quick to your point, though, these multinational corporations, Exxon doesn't just operate. So you call it an American company, yeah, a lot of that money goes to Americans, but it doesn't just go to Americans. It actually goes to other countries' benefit from
And
these
by the way, it doesn't go to
multinational
no
corporations.
American working class
So
people. Let's be
it's
clear
like,
on that.
look
It's a
at the
stock
Apple
market.
iPhone. The Apple iPhone is made in Shandong, China, where the conditions are so bad for the workers, they have suicide nets.
Yeah.
And the reason they do that is to save money. So these corporations don't care about us. They actually care about their bottom line more than killing their own employees. So I do think it's a
Exactly.
problem when we have a country that's being run by multinational corporations, and I think it is obvious that happens when these politicians are all getting funded by whether it be APAC or even these oil and gas industries or the farming industry, whatever industry it is. They can buy these politicians for pennies on the dollar. So I just don't like multinational corporations encouraging us to go start wars on their behalf. And if you say that doesn't happen, I just think you're being, a little
Well, that's the
dull.
difference between America and China. In America, multinational corporations and companies run the country. With China, it's the other way around. It's the country that runs the corporations, but they're very similar models.
Yeah, it's corporatocracy is what we're in right now. And then the Chinese have a communist state where the corporation owns 51. They're both dangerous because the corporations can become governments of their own.
They basically are now.
It's very dangerous. They can hire standing armies.
They literally went to Venezuela. That's just proof
that's why it's vital to identify, okay, what policies specifically would undercut, this MNE, network, so to speak. That's obviously, that is true that they do have a lot of influence in Washington, probably a plurality of influence.
Control.
So the question is, okay, what policies that the Trump administration is pursuing that would undercut the goals, again, of multinational corporations, et cetera, these very varied interests. And again, mass deportations is something that is absolutely petrifying to multinational
I would
enterprises.
argue that legal immigration is almost worse than the illegal immigration. The fact that you have H-1B visas, these people, and they look this up. Indians, and people are going to fact check me, are more likely to lie on a college acceptance application or a work application. You even had Mindy Kaling's brother is famous for saying that on a medical school application, he put that he was black. Yeah. So we actually have a system that all these college kids, you're a young college-age guy, you go and you spend $100,000 on a college degree, and you get your job stolen by an Indian guy that lied on his resume because these companies put in legislation that benefits them, that lets them hire them and get tax breaks. So that's bullshit. And that is being done by multinational corporations. And you know what? Trump's not, I don't know if he stopped that. I think he gave 300,000 visas to more Chinese people. So I would just like it if we actually had a government that cared about American citizens, or maybe the affordability crisis that you say is, right-leaning people and left-leaning people have, not the same problems. I would argue that most of our problems are very similar.
Yes, true.
If that were the case, people that are on the left, that again, if they are truly prioritizing kitchen table issues, they'd be all in favor of mass deportations. But the problem is they have another guiding North Star, which is ultimately they have self-hatred and they're totally okay with, eradicating the cultural foundation of the United States.
That's not what it is. So what it is the people on the left have been, the people have taken control of them. And in reality, what's happened is they care more about liberal woke issues rather than real left-wing issues. So you're right. If you were a real left-wing person, you would support deportations. You would also support the tariffs, not the way Trump did it, because he did it in a full-on mental, made no sense way, which destroyed small businesses. But if they did proper tariffs, they should be supporting it. The reason they don't support it is A, because they're anti-Trump, and B, because they don't know what left-wing is. They think left-wing is actually being liberal and woke. But that being said, you have the same thing on the right. Like on the right, they'll only support policies if Trump tells them. So a lot of people on the right were like, oh, why are you somewhat, I know it was 50-50, but even on the H-1B visa, a lot of them were supporting Trump, when in reality, that was harming working class Americans. So this is the problem you have when people fall as part of a group, they'll just follow the group irrespective of what the actual political ideology of that group is.
I would think, expanding H-1Bs, that entire system should just be completely gutted. But the Trump administration has, in the year of 2025, the data has come out, we are at net negative migration. So again, more foreigners have left the country than have arrived. That hasn't happened in 60 years. So really, since the Hart-Celler Act passed, which was really a nuclear bomb in the United States in many ways, we have not been able to achieve net negative migration. So it's like, no, I'm going to give the Trump administration their flowers.
How many deportations has he done?
I think right now it's around 600 to 700,000, and then
that's acceptable.
1.5 million self deportations.
Allegedly.
Again, if we're at net negative migration, I'm going to look. This is the problem. No,
I'm genuinely asking you as someone who.
No, I think it's low.
Because I know you're
but I think
you're very much a MAGA guy, and also what it is, I think, is a fact because you've been very strong about in this conversation about how much you don't like illegal immigration.
Well,
do you think
all immigration.
Well, okay, even better. All immigration. If that, so in terms of the number of 600,000, when you've got what 20 million, 11 million illegal,
I think 80 to 100 million need to go.
What?
80 to 100 million people need to be out of the country.
100 million people need to leave the United States.
We need
of
a
America.
lot of denaturalization.
That would obliterate our country,
okay, please explain to me how you're going to go about. So okay, let's.
I said that's my goal.
No,
so
I want to hear this. I always hear some of these far right guys saying this. I want to hear it. So explain to me how you're gonna what's going to be your criteria of deporting. What is it? 30% of the population.
Yeah, I think achievable is probably 30 to 40 million. I think that's achievable.
No, you said 100 million.
But
that's what he said
he
wanted.
My pie in the sky.
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
An amendment.
I think you would.
So illegals about 11 million. What else?
Yeah, then you would take anchor babies. Pretty much anyone that's
anchor baby. So Vivek Ramaswamy's gone.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, heavens.
Laura Loomer.
Her mom's a British.
Probably. Yeah, I think generally anybody that came, I think the Hart-Celler Act was just a massive mistake, and so anybody that came in because of the Hart-Celler Act again, we should probably pursue denaturalization. Could there be exceptions? Sure. I don't know what that would look like in
No, but
policy.
what would it? No, because we need to like, unless you're like, okay, if someone's white enough, I want them in. It depends on if that's your position. I want to know it.
Well, I
But,
think that white and black Americans are heritage Americans, and so they should be prioritized.
So FBA definitely stay. Foundational Black
Oh,
Americans.
yeah. Well, I
They
agree
stay.
with the and culture analysis that like this is fundamentally a white and black country. Like
Okay.
like the first man killed in the American Revolution was a black man. Like
Okay.
there's no question that.
Okay, so like someone
they're
like
distinctly
like
American.
I said, so basically, and when you say
You have,
white,
like Tejanos, like they were here for a while.
I'm only giving this example because I know them. So like Jackson, his parents came on the Mayflower. Jackson Hinkle.
Oh, right.
And then Nick Fuentes, they came through Ellis Island. Would they get to stay?
Well, yeah. Again, that's pre-Hart-Celler Act. It's like 1965.
Okay. And what about?
And even Ellis Island had a lot of problems too. But like
no,
it
because
worked out in the end.
So how would you get your 100 million? This is the thing I'm not getting.
Because we were at like 200 and, or I don't even think, I think we were at 180 million during the time of the Hart-Celler Act. So
But then
again,
there'll have been births as well, isn't there?
yeah, again, births to a lot of people from the Hart-Celler Act. I mean, if you look at the
So
proportion.
anyone who came after 1965, you would deport them. So they could
again,
have been in
in
this
the sky
country.
scenario.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So they could have been in this country for 3 generations, but they're gone. Elon
It
Musk
would be
gone.
about 2 to 3
Elon Musk gone.
generations,
Elon Musk out.
Maybe, yeah. I don't
No,
know.
maybe according to your
Again,
position,
pie
yes.
in the sky. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, yes, pie in the sky.
Okay, what about your non-pie in the sky?
Well, like, I think what's
Like
actually
20 your
practical
30
would be
million,
like
yeah.
probably 30 to 40 million.
Oh,
yeah.
what would be in that?
What would be in that?
Who would be deported?
Well,
in
I
that?
mean, alone 30 million illegals. That's easy. And then a
Is it-
lot of people that have like fudged paperwork to get here, people that have immigrated here but they're on welfare, people that
Okay.
are like net negative. They're again.
What
they're-
about people who've not been born here but have been, got citizenship?
Again, we're looking at like what a feasible immigration policy is, and yeah, they would stay if their paperwork's here and they're net contributors to the American tax base.
Okay, so it'd
Just
be
so
like,
long as you include Hassan Piker, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
Like,
and then whatever we need to do to get Hassan Piker out as well.
Let's touch a topic that is not controversial at all. Donald Trump not bombing Iran. Now, a lot of people expected it was going to happen on the 16th because I guess the first Ayatollah stepped down on January 16th, like 30 years ago, I guess. So this date is very important to these people. And it looks like I'm seeing on the Israel firsters on Twitter getting mad that Trump hasn't done anything yet. So I guess, we can just go around the room. I think that if we start a war with Iran, it's probably going to be a big clusterfuck and it's going to cause us a bunch of problems. So I'm obviously, I'm a conflict interventionist. I don't want to go and fight these wars for other countries. But, I'd like to see maybe MAGA Tate wants to freaking blow up the Ayatollah.
No, I do not want war with Iran. I think it would be a quagmire. Again, Venezuela, the goals were clear. The outcomes were clear even before the operation
What about the
happened.
argument that
what about
Maduro
bombing?
actually surrendered? Have you heard that conspiracy? Is that that Maduro had surrendered and was going to turn himself in?
Well, I mean, probably because he knew what we were capable of, and he looked around and he saw that like the people guarding him were like fat, like retards.
That's
so
what
he
Saddam
knew
was
that was
saying.
probably the best decision possible is to give himself up.
Saddam had given himself up too, but they were like, "We don't want you. We want the country."
Yeah, I'm just very allergic to intervention in the Middle
What
East.
about bombing? What about if he bombed?
I just
But
don't
no
want to get
boots on
involved
the ground,
in
but
Iran.
bombed. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
fine
want to
with
get
that.
involved in Iran. It's just a mess. Again, the
You want
interest.
to bomb Iran?
I didn't say I want to. I said I'm fine. There's a difference between I'm not pro intervention in Iran, but if they did, I wouldn't lose any sleep
Well, see,
over
I
it.
get frustrated. Tate's too young for this, but there's a thing called the PNAC, Project for a New American Century, where they actually wrote a whole doctrine about how they were going to take the 7 biggest threats to Israel in the Middle East, and Iran is the last country on that list. And we went there and we destabilized all these countries. We basically went to Afghanistan, and not only do you say Donald Trump is killing all these people because they have drugs, but in Afghanistan, we actually protected the poppy fields so that we didn't mess up their economy of selling heroin. So obviously that's a lie. Obviously the government does, want to sell drugs. I think the Iran-Contra, the government got caught shipping in cocaine, trading them.
But it
with
wasn't
Nicaragua.
about cocaine.
Well, they were giving Nicaraguans guns, and then we were taking the cocaine and
It was about
selling
fighting. It was about fighting the communists.
Whatever. I'm saying we were flying into Mena, Arkansas, and then Hillary Clinton, 2 boys died on a train track, and they said they smoked weed and fell asleep on it, and she covered all that up. My point is, if you look at drugs, they don't care about drugs. That's all a lie. So, just America is not. We say we're so perfect. I don't know. I think we got a lot of skeletons in our closet.
on your question, you said you're fine with bombing Iran. So are you fine with Iran bombing U.S. military sites in the GCC countries?
Why would I be fine with that? That's a ridiculous.
So why are you fine with it first?
No. I'm an American.
Yeah.
And I like America, so
And you
I'm
like
on
bombing
America.
people.
I'm on
You like killing
America's.
people.
I'm okay. You can stop putting words in my mouth.
Okay.
I'm on America's side.
How is that on America's side to bomb Iran?
Because if the United States does it, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Like, because the government does a lot of things that I wouldn't be out there saying we should go do this. There are a lot of things that don't have significant impact on my life, and if it doesn't have a significant impact on my life, I'm actually not going to go out and protest. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to go out and protest.
No,
anyways.
I'm not asking protest. I'm asking because you could be like, look, I don't really agree with it, but it's fine. Or you could be like, look, I'm neutral about it. But when you say you're fine with it,
I said I'm fine with that. So that's a neutral. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, fine would be neutral. I'm not like we should go do it. In fact, I specifically said that.
Yeah, I think the problem with being neutral on the issue is that what is the consequences? So there's only a couple of possibilities. One possibility is you're okay with America bombing another country, which I'm just like a Muslim, and I think ethically just harming anyone is not a good thing. But okay, I know we've got different morals and ethics. But that being said, separate to that, there's always consequences for your action. So when you bomb Iran, inevitably there's going to be a reaction. Hence why Israel, who knows that if they bomb Iran, and the GCC countries pleaded with Trump to say, look, don't do it. And that's the reason he didn't do it, because they knew that they would be targets. The US military bases would be targets. Israel will be target, and the issue you've got is that basically what it does is cause escalation. Iran isn't a weak country.
I'm not so sure that it actually would have significant consequences, and the reason I say that is because there was so many people were saying, look, if we strike Iran, if we strike the nuclear sites in Iran, there's going to be all these consequences. There's going to be a ground invasion. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. And so far, we've not seen any of the consequences that people were predicting.
Yeah,
right now, and I'm not saying that there couldn't be things in the future. I'm saying up to this point, we have not seen any of the stuff that the doomsayers were saying.
No, because that's because it seems like that was kind of like an agreed upon situation where
But
America.
before they were saying that all this stuff is definitely going to happen.
because it was agreed upon. Because what actually happened in that war was, which has kind of been proven now, because based on the fact that Israel said it already, is it was a 12-day war. Iran dominated Israel. The very first day, Israel hit Iran really well. Iran didn't expect it because they manipulated. Trump told Iran, Israel's not gonna hit you. So he believed him and thought there's gonna be negotiations on the Sunday. On the Friday they hit. Iran was doing military exercises. So on the first day they succeeded within Iran, and after that, Iran dominated Israel. Israel didn't have no defense missiles, and this is the reason they don't want to do that. They haven't got enough defense missiles to stop the attacks, and so that's why they went to Trump and made sure that they stopped the war. Trump's way of stopping the war was he had an agreed thing with Iran. In my view, this is the last bit of speculation. Agreed thing with Iran to say, look, you take your whatever nuclear bits you've got in Iran, we're gonna bomb, and then you can do the thing in Qatar, and they both bombed each other, and that's the end of it. But now Israel's not ready for the war, so I don't think that was escalation. Now Iran doesn't want it because it would be significant escalation. Then it would be GCC attacked, Israel attacked, and Israel and GCC are already.
And I want to make this point because during the 12-day war, why did we bomb Iran? Because they had nuclear capabilities, allegedly. But now you see Donald Trump tweeting that we're going to bomb them to help the protesters. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go destabilize countries because people are protesting, because there's so many countries where that's happening. I mean, in Israel,
United States of America, just someone got killed.
We just protested against them. Should another country bomb us for protesting our president?
No,
countries are not the same.
I don't think we should bomb Iran.
I'm just saying. I mean, I guess it's just where it's like, what is the objective? It's kind of like the war in the Middle East. The objective is not clear. So that's where
the objective is solely for Israel. If you're America first, you listen. Let's be clear on this. It's quite evident from the Middle East that these countries actually want deals with America. As soon as Qatar, UAE got opportunities, they've got deals with the United States of America. Worse than that, they've given United States of America $5 trillion. That's the level of love they actually have for America, and that's actually how they do. Let's be clear on this. Arabs psychologically, and Asians as well, they look up to the United States of America, and they look up to the white man. And so that's why they'll give $5 trillion to America. And so my point about that is these countries want to make deals. The issue you have is the only reason they're not making deals with America, for example, the only reason Iran has issues with America is because of Israel.
I'm not so sure I agree about Iran. I understand what you're saying about the rest of the Middle East, though, because for the most part, most of the countries in the Middle East do have fairly good relations with the U.S. And I think that a big part of the reason why the U.S. and Iran are hostile is because the U.S. is basically meddling in the Middle East, according to Iran, and Iran would have far greater influence over the other countries in the Middle East if it wasn't for the United States. Saudi Arabia and Iran don't particularly get along, and there's the Saudis have a significant interest in Iran not getting nuclear weapons. I think that as much as it is true that Israel doesn't want Iran to get nuclear weapons. I also think that there are a lot of the countries
Iran
around
doesn't
that
want
don't.
nuclear weapons in the first place. If they wanted it, they would have got it a very long time ago. Right?
I don't
and,
think I
and
agree
they've
with
got
that.
basically. Well, you can not believe it, but we've seen the actions. I think that's one of the failures Iran's done. That they should have got nuclear weapons, but they've not got it because a fatwa made by Ayatollah Khamenei, who basically said that you're not allowed to have nuclear weapons according to their religious law. They're Shia, I'm Sunni, so like I have different religious belief to them. That being said, they're quite clearly saying that they don't believe in nuclear proliferation. In terms of Iran, I do actually think that if Iran didn't have an issue with Israel, because Saudi, Israel, and the United States have always kind of been aligned, they would have good relations with that with all those countries. And you see that by the fact that, for example, Hamas is Sunni, Iraq is Iran is Shia. So in reality, these people will get along. When it comes to bigger geopolitical situations, will get along. I believe there's only one impeding issue, and that is Israel.
Well, what's the issue exactly?
Israel.
Well, Israel
Exists.
wants control of the area. They want to do expansion within the region, and they themselves want to make sure that they don't have existential threats. So they believe that in the future there could be a scenario where maybe these countries could be a threat, and so what they want to do is basically weaken all these countries so they're no longer a threat. It's kind of like psychological damage after what happened according to them for 1,000 years up until the Holocaust, where they think you can't trust the whites and you can't trust Muslims.
It happened after the Holocaust as well, though, because there was the 7-Day War and stuff like that.
What do you mean?
Or when a bunch of countries, the 6-Day War, a bunch of countries.
Yeah, that
attacked
was Israel. That was, again, America lying to... So LBJ got on the phone with Nasser. So what happened? The Egyptians didn't want to go to war with Israel. What happened was Nasser, the leader of Egypt, was actually fighting a war in Yemen. He gets on a call with LBJ and he says, the Israelis are not going to attack us, are they? Once again, he lies and says, no, they're not. And then they do a blitzkrieg and attack them. So that was Israel again.
Real quick, I just want to bring this up. It's so crazy. These letters from JFK where he was talking, you can look this up, where he was saying that he couldn't believe every single night that Israel was bombing themselves and then calling the
Thank
UK
God we're
to
talking
come
about
and fix
JFK.
it. Well, I'm saying it's just kind of weird that they were doing that. You can find the article somewhere else, but in his own notes, he was saying that.
What happened to JFK?
Well, he was shot in the head.
The
but
Jews killed him.
You said the Israelis were bombing themselves?
JFK wrote a note. He said it, and we
it?
can find it. Maybe this isn't the good one. Hold on.
They're kind of the masters
Serge,
of
go to-
subterfuge,
yeah.
the Israeli Mossad. But when I look at the Balfour Declaration, the way Israel was set up after World War I and the betrayal of the Arabs, it seems like the liberal economic order's attempt at bulwarking the Suez Canal and controlling trade hegemony in the region. They split up the Soviet Union and took Sevastopol and Black Sea port access away from the Russians on purpose after the fall of the Soviet Union. Like, that's all Israel. It seems like it's just a militarized outpost of the liberal economic order.
Even if it was, which I can see slightly where you're coming from, especially when you look at 67. But then when you look at, for example, what happened to JFK, and then you look at the fact that after that, you basically had a scenario where when the Soviet Union weakened, remember Israel also was working on both sides. They were given U.S. military secrets to the Soviet Union. They were given Soviet Union's secrets to the United States of America. So even in that situation, they weren't an ally. They were actually an impediment. They were going to just go with whichever side did well. But in terms of the Suez Canal, in terms of what you're talking about, I guess that is a decent point. But it became less of an issue over time, which you see when Egypt just fully just basically became part of like the American hegemony.
Well, and this is the quote right here. There were 13 bombs set off my last evening there, all in the Jewish quarter and all set off by Jews. The ironical part is that the Jewish terrorists bombed their own telephone lines and electric connections, the next day frantically phoned up the British to come and fix them up. So that's what we call a false flag attack.
That's Jesse
Well,
Smollett.
wouldn't it be? He said Jewish terrorists. Is that what it says in there?
No, it says set off by Jews. Nothing about terrorists.
Jewish terrorists
terrorists
bomb their own telephone.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess.
So that, I mean, typically, and this might be splitting hairs, but typically terrorists are people that are not part of the government, and false flags are set up by the government.
Well, we don't know.
Well,
I mean, he's just saying we don't.
Again, like
we
I
don't
said,
know. I know.
I'm only
because maybe
splitting
we're arguing
hairs.
semantics,
No,
but-
because the problem is that what you've got is you're right. Like Israel has always been, United States of America has always been kind of linked and or subservient to Israel. Now, there's been-
Subservient.
Yeah, of course.
Always,
No, that's why I said and or.
but always.
No, that's why I said and or.
Well, and or.
As in,
So
either
I mean,
they
because the U.S. was a country for what 150 years before.
No, I said
before-
I said the U.S. and Israel
Mm-hmm.
have always been linked and or. So or being so it's either linked or subservient.
So but you're not. The point that I'm making
Yeah.
is the U.S. existed a long time before Israel.
Since 49.
Yeah, I know that. That's
Since
why I said
Israel
and
got
or.
created.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I said and or. So But there were two key incidences I can just think about, which is, for example, the Brits. Do you remember when they bombed the King David Hotel? They called them terrorists then as well. And then obviously JFK always never had a good relationship with them and always seen them as extremists, as did the Queen of England.
You know, I have kind of this utilitarian take on is supporting Israel and supporting military in the Middle East, because I was really anti-war in Iraq. It was just seemed like nonsense. But now I think, like, if we just pulled out of the Middle East and just said, you're on your own, Iran, take nuclear weapons, I feel like Russia and China would take over the world, take over the Suez Canal. America would become third bitch. And then we would be spending $700 on coffees and speaking Mandarin. So it's like I'm a little more bullish on military authority and control now to protect American religious, republicanism, essentially. Where does your take?
The world can't stand a power vacuum.
So I'll just state your position back and tell me if I said it wrong. So your position is that America should subjugate the world so you can have cheaper goods.
And it's beyond me.
Yeah.
It's because freedom of speech, because of gun rights, property rights, these ethics that are inherent in our country, I think is the best on earth or the least worst.
You think that's a good ethic, to subjugate the earth, to murder, kill, and cause mayhem so that you can have cheaper coffee? I know I'm kind of being reductive in what I'm saying,
you're
but
doing
yeah.
extreme.
incredibly
I do think America should behave like an empire.
Let me
I do
answer.
agree with that.
But there's different ways an empire.
Yes,
so
there
we've
are.
had,
You don't have
So
to
well,
go
now
can
you've
be
changed it
answer
because
that.
initially you were like they should kill and bomb and do all these terrible things. Then he says, well, like they should behave like an empire, and then you're like, okay, well, there's different ways to do it.
Yeah,
so
there is.
so the way that you set up the question is should they be the worst empire imaginable?
But that's what they
so
mean.
that way you
No,
can
but-
do this.
no, but
No,
listen,
absolutely
no,
not.
no,
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 absolutely not.
no.
The United States is not the worst ever
listen.
empire imaginable.
No, no.
If
No, I didn't-
China or Russia were in actual
How is-
where
how
the
is China
global
expanding?
power.
How is China
I'm
expanding
not
right now?
saying they are. I said if they
No,
were,
they
it would
are.
be
They
totally
are.
different.
No, China is expanding.
economic,
Bro,
essentially.
China is expanding. Like what China now, when you look at it from a military perspective, when you look at it from a technological perspective, they're massively advanced, and they're advancing so much. And I don't want China to take past it, but this kind of understanding that you believe that China's not advancing in the way they are, and that they're not building an empire, is just not based on
They're
reality.
certainly
They've-
trapping like third world s-holes with like horrible trade deals. That's
building an
different than
empire.
like exercising military power.
Exactly. So
wherever we
you
want.
prefer the military way. They build the.
That's how empires should operate.
No,
yeah.
but they're actually building an empire as well, but they're just doing it economically.
They're doing it in like
The United
fairly
States-
inconsequential places and very sloppily, like
Yeah,
Sri Lanka.
And the United States, the United
I mean,
States
they've taken a lot of
absolutely is.
Africa, they've taken-
Look, all you have to do is look at how many countries have McDonald's to know that the United States did it economically. Right, like the United States has built
How many
the
years has the US not been
liberal
involved since the
economic
World War-
order. What?
Since World
Well,
War
it's
II,
funny you
how
say
many
that.
years has the
Venezuela is one of the few countries that doesn't have a Rothschild's bank. Iran, another country that doesn't have a Rothschild's bank, and it's very important to these people that all these countries do have Rothschild banks. I mean, that's just a fact.
So my thing is this, you're right, by the way. But my thing is this: I want America to be in charge. I just want it to be done peacefully.
Well, I don't think it can. And I mean, I understand peace through strength and deterrence.
But China showed you a mode where it can be.
Well, the problem is
And
like
Trump is kind of showing you a mode where it can
But
be,
if
because
if I-
Syria, he's kind of created an agreement now where he looks like he's bringing them into the empire. He's not had to kill anyone. Trump is starting to show in certain aspects you can't
well,
do
no,
it.
and the way Trump negotiates these things is he sets up these convoluted
I knew when I
economic.
praised Trump, he's going to be on board.
Well, no, I'm saying I'm saying the way that Trump
Easy.
the way that Trump sets up these things is he sets up these trade deals, so then it makes it much more difficult for these countries to again like dissolve their relationships with each other because they're dependent on-
economically.
yeah, he's trying to
Yeah, but
develop like
peace-
economic cooperation.
peacefully.
And I think that's better.
I think it's way better than George Bush. George Bush's solution is just like bomb and then hope for the best.
Exactly.
he
Because
did
George
9/11.
Bush's situation, what does it do? It creates the military industrial complex to be wealthy, the billionaire class, Zios, become richer, and my poor old Uber drivers have to work 60, 70 hours.
I would love for it to be peaceful and for it to be emergent, where everybody's like, you know what, republicanism is the best. I like free speech. We're going to overthrow our governments and do it. I just don't, when you have a totalitarian system preventing that, like the CCP that wants, total authority or whatever, how's that going to happen peacefully? And also, when you go in and
What do you mean?
how the Chinese people overthrow the Communist Party and take their country back peacefully?
No, they wouldn't. I don't get it.
I don't think they would either. I don't think
Yeah.
it can happen peacefully.
No, but why would they want to? The country's doing so well.
So that they can say fuck the government
country?
and not get the bullet in their head.
Whoa, yeah, that's
Talk
an
normal,
overstatement.
Be normal.
No, they couldn't.
free
I'm
speech.
not pro-China. I think that is a significant issue, but they are doing well. Like
Well, they have the LEDs on the side of the buildings.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'd like to
no,
hear
but if you
from
look
some
at if you
Chinese
look at the
people.
military advancement, American military is still the best, like by far.
Yeah.
But if you look at the technological advancement now, because basically they came to the US, they stole a lot of US technological secrets. They took them back. But now what's happened
Now
is
you're making
they're
arguments for
developing them a lot more.
deportations.
Sorry?
Now you're making arguments for deportations.
Well, there was actually a guy that
I'm
just got
against
sentenced to
immigration.
20 years.
I've been against CCP infiltration. I've been talking about it for 10 years.
Awesome.
Well, a guy just went to
I
jail
agree
for
on
20 years for giving secrets to China. So
Let me finish the question. Sulaiman, you
Not
said
long enough.
doing it peacefully. So if you take someone's food supply away, technically that's peaceful according to the CIA because there's no kinetic violence. Of course, then they start to starve and die. You've economically strangled and killed them.
True.
That could be a peaceful way that we take over the world, technically. Or
I
we
wouldn't
can
agree with that
take
as well
out
because that's oppressive.
it is oppressive, but
Yeah.
it's peaceful.
Oh yeah, so
it's non-violent.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. So it has to be peaceful and non-oppressive.
Well, see,
That's a big
and this is
glass
this is
to
one
fill.
thing
I'm
that,
open to talking about that.
Ian, because I feel like you are changing, your stance a little bit. Because I think in your heart, you know that as human beings, like we are evolved, like we should be able to solve our problems.
Disagree.
Well, just let me make a point. This is why the fact is we've been desensitized to violence. We've seen 9/11. We've seen Charlie's death. So now we think it's okay because we've seen other people die. But in a real, utopia society, and I know we're never going to have a utopia, we wouldn't be killing each other over lines in the sand.
Humans, we have two parts of us. We have the person, the name,
That's
the,
why I'm not
the
a
love,
libertarian
but
anymore.
then we have the animal that needs to eat. And when that thing starts to suffer, it goes haywire. And we have to plan for that. And that's where military force comes in.
Well, people also just have
you have religion
people
and
depending
morals.
on where you are from in the world, you just have completely different perspectives on morality too. Like morality is universal, but people have differentiating views on
why
it. This
is
is why
it-
immigration is
but
so
to-
flawed because you're just bringing people into a country that just have a different conception of morality and different conception of ethics, and then it breaks apart.
Would you say Switzerland is a country that's ran well?
Yeah, Switzerland's
Switzerland,
Yeah.
the United States can't be Switzerland though,
Why not though?
because it's a totally.
Switzerland is like
Why-
3 European people groups that are neighbors.
and
So
it's
you're
it's a
telling me
totally.
America cannot copy Switzerland? You think
No,
that's impossible?
no.
Switzerland's
not at all.
tiny little
That's
mountain
because you
country.
guys are.
Look, and-
that's
and-
propaganda. You guys have fallen for war propaganda. It's
No,
like when you
it's-
watch Saving
no,
Private Ryan,
no,
you
it's
get
not.
a boner. You're like, oh, there's no fight
Switzerland
more.
is only Switzerland
So
because
the
the
idea-
world is a violent place.
Yeah, like-
if everyone were Switzerland, then no
The
one would
world,
be Switzerland.
yeah, it would be great if everything
But
was like
then,
Switzerland.
uh,
we
Yeah,
would
but
kill
eventually
each
the,
other.
the idea that
Everyone's self-interested.
yeah, that's true. The idea that we're desensitized to violence. This is a totally novel period in human society.
What are you talking about? There's people that were drafted. Vietnam was incredibly violent. Every era of the American history has been violent. The Civil War was violent.
Only
What
11
have-
era-
we- hold on,
what
hold on,
era
hold on,
of
hold on.
American history was not violent?
That's the point that I'm making. Like we are less violent now in this point in human history than human beings have ever been in all of human history.
How many people
I
have been
don't
in the
know
last
if
100
that's
years?
true.
In the last 100, well, in the
Compared
last
to
100,
anyone
in the
else.
last 100 years, because of governments, probably 200 million. But the point that I'm making is
Yeah,
the
government,
average,
state-sanctioned murder is still murder.
the average person in the Western world is far less likely to engage with violence than other people in other points in history ever. Like people had a
More
far
people have died.
Absolutely.
More people have died in the last 100
We're
years.
definitely like
because of industrialized war,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
because there's more war. Like war was a constant prior to World War,
War's
the end
been
of
a
World War II.
constant for America except for 11 years.
It's been a constant throughout all of human
Exactly.
history.
And
War
we're-
existed before human beings were human beings.
We're conditioned
Exactly.
to less like battlefield deaths, but as far as like the culture of violence, I would agree that we are desensitized to. I mean, because you look across the West, like what we tolerate, like abortion is just murder at the highest degree that's just occurring, like we're just battery farming it. You have like just the cities are just we just accept like insane levels of violent crime. I mean, like in the UK, you have like these grooming games going everywhere. So it's like no matter where you look, we are just conditioned to accept just like carnage just right below our very noses. So it's like, okay, it doesn't manifest in the battlefield, but the West is still an exceptionally we still accept an exceptional level of violence.
I think the
Well, the
reason
grooming
that we
gangs are Tommy
see,
Robinson propaganda.
I think,
though.
I
Oh,
think that
yeah,
we,
okay.
I think that we, I think that we,
Rotherham, you know,
I think
No,
that
no.
we,
So
hold
what,
on,
what it
guys.
is there is grooming gangs in the UK,
Yes.
right? And there is grooming gangs in specific areas which were largely Muslim and Pakistani, Rotherham being one,
Right.
Rochdale being one, Telford being another one, and maybe one or two others. But if you look at it holistically in the entirety of the UK, when it came to, I don't know if you like to say the P word, if you look at the Peter.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and
PDF.
PDF and abusing women. You know what I mean by that. Then if you look at the entirety of the UK, it's actually proportionate.
Well, I want to say this point. It's actually this is why America. This is why I have problems, and I love this country. But this is why I do have problems with the country. And you might get offended at this, but during the war in the Middle East, there's a thing called the Bakabazi boys, where there's men in Afghanistan, and where they still have
Bachabazi.
it, where they have sex with little boys. They'll be their little servant. They have sex with children, and the United States military walked in on this. this. And instead of hurting the PDF file, what they did was they protected him because they were our allies. So we have instances where our government is not only protecting Jeffrey Epstein right now, but we've actually protected pedophiles in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So I think
that's what's happened in the UK with the grooming gangs. The civil service
well,
just completely justified it.
I'm anti-violence, but if somebody does deserve that violence done to them, I would say it would be somebody that harms children.
There are
And
plenty
yet
of
our
people that
country
deserve violence,
protects pedophiles.
No,
Our
but they
country
didn't
literally
justify. What was there was serious failures amongst the government, and this happened throughout the board. So, for example, now like Tommy Robinson, if you look at it, I did a thread of like 100 people that were either his friends, connected to him, had the same position as him, or was part of his group that all partook in this PDF and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm trying to say is, when you look at it, of course, there was massive failures within the institutional level in terms of protecting any of those children or women.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, even in the, like, it was the Jay Roberts report, where it's like, even in that, the
what report?
The Jay Robert report, that was the report that exposed in Rotherham like the massive levels of grooming that was going on. It was like 1,400 kids that were taken advantage of, and the police and other civil servants were like literally afraid to report it because they want to be perceived as like Islamophobic.
No, but that's my point. I'm trying to say that you're right about Rotherham, but I'm saying if you look at the UK as a whole, if this issue and this, because what you're basically saying is, I have an issue with Rotherham because it was Muslims, but I'm saying I have a problem with every single town, irrespective if it was Muslim, Christian, Jew, white. So I think where we differ is, I'm saying I have a problem with all of them doing it. You're focused on
I totally agree. I'm just saying.
I'm saying failures happen across the board, but you're saying I only care about Rotherham.
Well, it's like saying, okay, instead of just addressing like aggravated assault, theft, these sorts of things, we should just focus on theft generally. I'm talking about
PDF. I'm talking about PDF.
Well, I agree, but I'm just saying there's a
abuse.
difference between like an institutionalized like system of grooming gangs that needs to be broken up, and that is a separate issue from like pedophilia writ large.
No. So it was institutionalized. It was happening across the board. Now, in terms of those specific grooming gangs, what Tommy Robinson did was he created a new category where he said, if it's 3 people or higher doing the abuse, then we'll create a new category, and it'll be for only over 14-year-olds, and it'll only be because they want to take the children out because that becomes disproportionately not them. And we want to take the children out because we don't care about pedophilia, and we want to do it where it's 3 or more because we don't want to care about 2 or 1, and we just create. So what he did was create this fake category to maybe say, look, everybody falls into that category. And I'm saying that's just ridiculous. You abuse someone, you do it, whether it's a PDF and it's someone, and I think doing it to children is worse, but obviously we may disagree. But the thing is, all of that is bad. All of that was covered up in an industrial level, and all of it should be called out irrespective of who it is. And I think this has been done intentionally in order to cause like wars between people.
Well, I think it's just like there's a difference between, again, like just it sounds weird, but like your everyday sort of grooming situation, which happens all the time. There's no question about that. And actual groups, actual roving bands that operated for dozens of years.
So you think, like, for example, let's say one guy abused a 5-year-old.
Right.
That's less worse than, let's say, 3 guys who abused a 16-year-old.
No, I'm saying those are 2 separate things. I mean, that warrants execution. There's no question about that.
Which one?
Well, both. But I'm
So
saying.
you said they're both the same?
Well, the actual individual instance, but I'm saying when you have gangs, like
that's a gang.
groups,
so his category of gang is 3 or higher. So I'm giving again.
Right.
3 guys
and
abusing
within a specific community as well.
Yeah. Okay. So 3.
But
Okay.
Sulaiman,
Let's do
real
your community
quick,
thing. 3 Pakistani guys who abuse a 16-year-old, and 2 white guys who abuse a 5-year-old. Which one's worse?
They're both equally
It's just
bad.
like-
Exactly. That's my point.
We're talking
but he
about,
doesn't believe that.
We're saying I'm talking about
this.
specific grooming gangs, and it's like because we've brought like massive amounts of Pakistanis into the UK, we wouldn't have these if it weren't for the mass migration to the UK.
And this is
So what you're saying is
There's not grooming gangs of like scousers running around.
I just explained to you
But
that
Sulaiman,
proportionally it's all the same. So there is.
Why do
No,
Muslim
it's
women?
not.
Real quick,
Yes, it is.
No,
Should-
Pakistanis are outsized in sexual crimes in the United States.
No,
in the
it's
United
not.
Kingdom.
No,
Yes,
they're
they
not.
are.
No, they're not.
Well,
I've
that-
actually
now
done
we
the
need-
evidence to prove it, because I'm saying if you say in Rotherham, then it's the case. But for the entirety of the United Kingdom, it's not.
We just need to pull up the data because you just said yes, no,
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
no.
Well,
We
just
need the
answer
data.
this
Pull up my thread. I did a
well,
thread on it.
And this is going after Islam. Why do women have to cover their face? Why do they have to cover their face? Why do they have to cover their face, Sulaiman?
Well, let's deal with this as
Well,
well.
so
So
Why?
no one,
Just say
no one,
answer
so
it. Why
no
do
one
they-
can see it.
Well, no.
No, what was it?
It's-
So you
it's
talk about the
because
niqab.
it's a sexual thing.
No. So the reason women cover, first of all, I don't agree with covering the face. I think it's not within Islam. But those who believe it, so I don't believe in it, by the way. But those Muslims who do believe in it, like, why don't women have the freedom of choice to wear it?
Well, I guess if a woman wants to wear it, I think they can. I mean, if they want to choose to wear it. But my point is, there's a reason why, because in some cultures, if a woman does
What does the
that,
top line say?
they
There's
say
no
that the woman
conclusive-
is
what does that say?
asking for it by even showing her face. So I think that culturally that is not
What
good.
does the topic say?
Do you, Suleiman, do you think that Islam
Yeah, I think you're just ignoring it.
is due for a reformation?
Oh, that's America though, yeah.
Yeah, this is the U.S. I mean, and also like the thing with Rotherham specifically, it was like,
So you remember you're saying one specific town, but yeah.
well, I mean, that's just the biggest, most high profile case, and this was the case with some of the other like Rochdale and the other gangs. Is the Pakistani grooming gangs were targeting white children, and then there's no like instances of white grooming gangs to begin with, but then let alone white grooming gangs targeting like Pakistani girls.
Okay, so first of all, there was white grooming gangs. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And the second thing is,
Were they target even if there was,
Yeah.
which
So
I
the
mean, we
reason-
would have found out, but were they targeting Pakistani girls?
So-
No, it's like no, these Pakistanis came here and then they had like this weird sexual fixation where they
No,
wanted to
no,
take
that
out
wasn't it.
white
What
girls.
actually happened, I don't think you read the report. So what actually happened was, unfortunately, what these evil people were doing, these Pakistanis, was they were going to, people who were in social services and people who'd lost their people who went with their parents, maybe because of drugs or whatever it may be. So they were going for these vulnerable 14, 15, 16, 17
working
year olds.
class, yeah.
Yeah, like people who were in social services. Like, I don't know if you have the same thing in the US, but in the
Like
UK,
CPS here.
where the kids are taken away and they live in a
Child Protective Services.
Yeah, that's it. So they were basically there, and then what that is those social services, largely speaking, it is white girls, and that's why they were targeting them.
Yes, so
Yeah.
the Pakistanis were again the results was it was primarily white girls
Yeah, so
being
both were-
victimized by Pakistani
Yeah,
grooming gangs.
and the other one was white guys victimizing white girls because again they were easy access.
Yeah, again, I mean, I don't know of any instances of this occurring. I mean, if you have I'm happy to look it up if you have a
Yeah,
name.
real
but-
quick,
put
do you
my
think
name in.
that-
Put my name in on X. Go put Tommy Robinson. You'll get 100 people.
Let me
I
ask
would
Tate
rather
this
have a
question.
third party
Tate,
say-
do you think?
Yeah, it's
real
got the
quick, I
research
just
in
wanna
there,
ask
it's
this
got the
question,
data.
to Tate though, do you agree with Donald Trump that the Epstein files are a total hoax?
Of
No,
course
I
he
think
does.
the Epstein files were real, but I just don't. I think all
Well,
the
why would he say it was a hoax then?
because it's just politics. I think the reality is any incriminating information on the Epstein files, there's none. Because any powerful people, like, what do you think Bill Clinton like did this or whoever did this, and then they don't
You'll
erase
have to,
all
you
the
have to search
information
it.
relating to
Just
it?
leave it.
Well, I
That's
think
fine.
there's evidence. I think with any crime in this modern era, like there's always going to be
text you as well.
residue of a crime.
Well, the
So
problem
it's
is
like
they keep getting
can't-
killed. The people that would testify.
Well, they couldn't. Hillary Clinton has a lot of people that are associated with her that have died under mysterious circumstances. So I'm just saying.
Well, you
that-
think the Epstein files are fake?
No.
Oh, well, what's your position on it?
My position is that any incriminating information is probably gone by now.
Oh, okay.
Do you think it's
Fair
just
enough.
destroyed by the FBI? See, that's where I disagree because I get frustrated when people tell me that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself even though he was like at the vending machine, buying M&Ms right before. I think that he just met with his attorney. His attorney said he was in great spirits. So I just think it's odd that a billionaire that probably did have inside information and probably could have been a witness to these people dies, by killing himself. I think that, like you said, they would cover their tracks and they would kill him. But yet we have people that lead the FBI or leaving the FBI telling us, oh, no, the official story is right. Like, do you believe the official story? Do you think he hung himself by jumping off the second story of a...
No, I'll be
Exactly.
the first person to say I think especially the Trump-led DOJ fumbled the Epstein.
I mean, they couldn't have fumbled it any worse.
Yeah.
They gave those fake binders. So it just sucks because it gives me the impression that they're protecting pedophiles. And people think like, oh, Pizzagate is some QAnon thing. No, it wasn't. These were the WikiLeaks when we got Hillary Clinton's emails and we see all these weird emails about pizza and maps and just a lot of weird stuff. James Alefantis, and maybe he wasn't doing a child sex ring out of a pizza shop, but they were doing weird stuff on islands with children, and I just get a little frustrated that they're not going to give us transparency because it feels like they're protecting pedophiles.
Do you know how young the youngest victim was by any chance?
Well,
Known?
if you're going to do the Nick Fuentes argument that they're like pre-teens, I heard.
Yes,
I heard
prepubescent is pedo.
Yeah, I
Otherwise,
agree.
it's hebephilia, I believe. Like
but
teenage girls.
I heard this rumor, and is this true or not? That people would ask Jeffrey Epstein, that was in his circles, his favorite sexual conquest, and supposedly Jean-Luc Brunel, who was a modeling talent agent that had a bunch of models, is that Jeffrey Epstein would tell people that his favorite sexual conquest was how he slept with 3 11-year-old triplets and then flew them back. And that's that you can look that
I
up.
heard
That is-
11.
That's
I heard
not slept
10,
with.
but I don't know if it's
well,
verified.
whatever. He had, you know what I mean? He just did the deed with 3 11-year-olds. He abused them. And, I just get frustrated because it's so obvious that there are important people that are doing stuff, and maybe they have to do it. Maybe, it's part to get in the club. You have to do it. You have to touch a kid or whatever it is. But we're not going to get transparency. And I love Donald Trump, but he campaigned on transparency. I'm going to give you transparency. And then they totally flipped the script. It's just making me kind of lose faith in ever actually finding the truth. And that sucks.
It's the one ring. They can't, they can get rid of it, but the data is so valuable. All that blackmail data, they're using it right now, I think.
That's part of it, probably.
Wonder who it's for.
probably keeping Trump alive.
Well, I would say that, you know how we do want to blame everything on Israel, but if you look at Mossad and you look at our CIA, and you're going to say Mossad controls the CIA, but they work in concert together. They share all information. As a matter of fact, they fought because supposedly Israel held information from America and vice versa. So when both agencies are basically, tied together like that, same with
But how do they
MI6.
work together? So
I'm saying, so they protect their own agency as well, because there was probably
No, but look, we can
CIA involved in Jeffrey Epstein as well.
So we've got instances of Israeli spies stealing American secrets and either
course.
giving it to Israel or taking it to Russia.
But there's
Where-
American
Wait, hold on.
spies that are giving
there- where's
Hold on.
American spies
There's
stealing Israeli
there's one
information?
thing that I want to put in there. The idea that it's only Israel stealing from the United States, that is a
that's not
naive perspective. Every country does everything they can to spy on every other country.
I thought they're the greatest ally. A special relationship.
I don't care. Every country does
Exactly.
everything they
And
can
so why that's
to spy on every other country.
And so that's why it's pertinent that you don't make claims that a specific country has a special relationship or they are given special access, because when you do, then you're right.
Yeah,
Every country wants to do it.
I disagree with that. I think that, and not that I think that Israel should be a special country. I do think that the United States, the UK, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia have a unique relationship because we all spawned from the UK. So I think that the Five Eyes is what they call it.
English speaking.
Yeah, I think that
I mean,
not just
Israel's not
English
part of it.
speaking,
I know,
but
Israel's
yeah,
Israel's not part of the Five Eyes.
that's exactly what I said.
Oh,
but the
sorry.
point that I'm making,
Oh, you said not Israel.
not
Okay.
Israel.
Okay.
The 5 countries that basically
Even
were
then, I
spawned
think
from
it's
the
still,
United
I still think
United
it's a national
States.
security, even with the UK.
No,
I think they
because
should
the
be.
United, in my opinion, the United States is actually the fruition of what was started with the Magna Carta in the UK.
I mean, that's
so.
true. That
So
is
I
true.
think that the United
But the
States. I
interests
think,
have changed so much now.
I
Certainly
still
the UK.
think, yeah, definitely. But I still think that the United States and the countries that basically are sister countries or brother countries, whatever you want to call them, I think that we do have a special relationship that should be held above all other countries in the world. So, anyhow,
Well, we do let them have nuclear weapons, and I think that's kind of.
the UK,
I actually
we
kind of,
didn't let them.
if I'm really going to go crazy, people are going to call me Candace Owens. So I think nuclear weapons are totally fake. The idea that they split the atom and this big bomb goes off, and if you look up Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
Yeah.
you can basically tell that those were fire bombs. You can look at it, and there's a
What-
lot
have
of
you
good
ever,
documentaries.
so what do you
on
think the Castle Bravo test was?
it was fake. Why did a house fall down, but the car sitting there perfectly
That wasn't
fine?
that wasn't
Well,
Castle
whatever.
Bravo.
I'm just saying the footage that they gave us.
I understand.
Do you believe that footage is real?
I understand what you're talking about. That was edited. I
It looks
understand.
like-
I'm not making the argument that it wasn't.
All
but
of a sudden, everything's different.
The Castle Bravo. There are multiple tests where there's footage. You think they're
I'm
all
saying we have
faked?
big bombs, but it's funny because Donald Trump, he's dropped the Moab, the mother of all bombs, which is arguably the second biggest bomb besides a nuclear weapon. It just seems like in order to scare the civilians, and this is what they tell us in school, and they told me this, I don't know if you guys agreed, but maybe Tate was in school sooner than all of us, but they told me in history class that we have enough nuclear weapons to blow up the earth 10 times over. That's just provably false. It doesn't matter if we set up every bomb that we had, the earth is going to outlive humanity, and we can't just blow up the world like that. That's just fake news. So they use the threat of nuclear weapons to scare us, and the idea that you split the atom and everything blows up. I actually think it's such a lie. It goes back to the Bible. It's kind of like how they're trying to play like they're
Do you
God.
believe in atoms?
I believe in atoms, but I don't believe if you split an atom, it causes this mushroom cloud.
So then you
that's
think
just a
that
bomb.
Einstein is wrong?
I think Einstein had some crazy theories. I think some was right. He talked about the ether. Now that you probably don't believe in the ether. He talked about the ether, and now that's been totally taken out of science. So I think there is energy that we cannot see around us. And so I think Einstein was right about some stuff, probably wrong about other stuff. But the idea that the Manhattan Project, they just built this bomb. And
Do you think that basically all matter and energy are the same things? They're just different manifestations of the same thing?
Ask that question again. Do I think matter?
Do you
what?
think matter and energy are the same thing? Because the essential
No.
argument in E equals MC squared is that matter and energy are actually the same thing. It's just they're different manifestations.
Well, I
of the
think
same
matter
thing.
has energy, but I don't know if I guess I could say that energy has matter because if there is an ether, we can't see it, but there's oxygen in the air. There's stuff that is, the ether. He believed in it. Now natural science has taken it away. It's like, what is it they say? What are the fire, rain? What are the elements?
Oh, 5.
Yeah,
Water,
there's 5,
metal,
but there's really
earth,
6 ether, and they
fire,
took that
yeah.
off. According to Einstein, you can look this up. He thought ether was the 6th element.
Nassim Harriman seems to believe it's the vacuum. He calls it the vacuum of space-time itself. It is equally dense. So I think Einstein was right that there is what we think is nothing is actually something, even though we don't necessarily classically determine it with our tools yet.
So in 1905, the special theory of relativity, Einstein rejected the classical ether as unnecessary and undetectable.
Well, he changed his opinion on it when it became not scientifically, accepted. That's what
I just want to figure out how
So
the nuclear bomb works.
basically, so what happened is essentially when Einstein said ether, what he's talking about is space time. So the ether was thought of but now we just call it the field, right? So
Well,
things
that's
that
what
are
I'm saying. So that we agree that there is an electromagnetic field.
well, no, it's
around
not
us, but-
electromagnetic. It's basically like so you can go forward, backward, up or down, left, right. That's a field, right? That's
No,
the
I think he
field
was
that we live
talking
in.
about an energy that we cannot see. that
No, he
is
said
around us.
he says. However, at least this is what the AI says. However, in his general theory of relativity, Einstein reintroduced the concept of an ether not as a material medium, but as space time itself endowed with physical properties. So basically, space. You know how
I
like
understand space time. I understand that, but I would just argue that we're all in the ether.
I had a fact check on nuclear bombs. This internet says nuclear bombs work by releasing massive amounts of energy through nuclear reactions, either fission or fusion.
Yeah.
So I guess
That's
they
what
are real.
I mean. The evidence that nuclear bombs are the evidence that nuclear bombs are real is stars.
I mean, the internet said it.
Well, no, but
because stars prove that we have nuclear bombs.
stars are that it's possible at the very least because stars fuse together atoms into heavier elements. They fuse
Trust me,
hydrogen
if
into.
nuclear bombs are real, Israel would have already dropped one.
When a
That's just
neutron
fact.
hits the nucleus.
If that's your evidence, then we can move on.
I mean,
are we? Do we have callers today?
Yeah,
Are
we do.
doing
Let's get
Discord?
into
Okay.
it. We got the Discord. We got some great chats from you guys in the Discord watching live right now.
Oh, this is rough.
Okay, I like this. Question for you, Sulaiman. What is your perspective on abortion? If you are pro-choice, do you believe it's a bad thing, but women need the option because of their situation?
Yeah, I'm anti-abortion, so I've got the Jewish position on it. I'm like full on against it. I think.
Well,
it's
Margaret Sanger created Planned Parenthood, and she was
Oh damn!
Jewish.
Shit.
Yeah.
I guess they do both sides. But anyway, but I'm talking about in terms of like the actual legal position. So I believe it's like life from conception.
Based.
Yeah, I agree too. I think abortion is murder. And what is it? I saw this viral TikTok where they were talking about, how many people in Gen Z had died, and they asked everybody, and they're like
30%.
Yeah, it was 30%.
Suleiman, the Christian Muslim Alliance is back
Yeah.
on. It's back
What?
on.
Dude, believe it or
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
there's a lot of similarities with Christianity and Islam.
The West-
we're
All right, let's not get crazy.
Hey,
West-
real quick, Islam speaks of Jesus very highly. They don't consider him just a magician like some other religions do. And so the fact that they respect Jesus, I think that
Which Christian are you Orthodox?
Protestant.
Evangelical.
Yeah, kitschy, evangelical, yeah.
Oh damn.
Listen,
I guess it's
the amount of
I'm not one of the LARPers. I'm an OG American.
the amount of abortions
funny
that
business.
have been performed in the United States dwarfs the amount of children sacrificed by the Aztecs.
Yeah, that's what I pointed out. So the Spanish literally exterminated the Aztecs from the face of the globe for a child sacrifice level of about 2%. Meanwhile, like in Britain, not to pick on Britain here, but in Britain, a third of all children conceived in Britain are aborted. So, a magnitude higher degree, the Spanish literally exterminated a civilization.
What's
for
the
child
percentage in the
sacrifice.
U.S.?
I think it's about 25% as well.
Yeah.
25%.
You say 1 out of every 4 conceptions is terminated?
I want it to be 3.
I think it's even
This
higher.
is last year's number?
It's in
This
UK.
is in the UK, yeah.
UK is 1/3.
And then
US
America
is
is
1/4.
1/4. And then it's projected to hit half in Britain at this rate in the next 20 years.
Are those like including miscarriage abortions?
No,
No, these are just abortions.
Because those are technical
Terminations of pregnancy. Yeah.
Yeah,
those are,
UK is
those
very
are
liberal.
considered involuntary terminations, involuntary abortions.
I don't know what the number is on that. This is just talking about like gone into an abortion clinic and aborted the child.
Remember, UK is almost becoming like an atheistic country.
It's grim.
It's
grim.
it used to be 75% Christian, and the last census, which was 5 years ago, went down to 45%.
Church of England's asleep at the wheel too.
They basically all turned atheist.
There has been a little, resurgence of Christianity in America.
In
though.
America,
Yeah.
for sure, but
Yeah.
Europe is not.
Yeah.
Europe's
It's just got to
completely
be
atheist.
real Christianity. Like, not, I believe in it.
What's real?
They're-
What's
like you abide by the tenets of the faith, the virtues. You actually embody the 7 virtues of Catholicism, humility.
Well, Ian, this is the problem. Is I think that modern Christianity has actually been hijacked because if you look at, even though that's not in the, they don't consider it a book of the Bible, but the book of Thomas, and even though it says in the Bible, in order to follow Jesus, how to get into heaven, you would give basically, Jesus had a lot of socialism views because you would have to give up everything to follow him. He even said it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. So what we've done now is we have a lot of these prosperity gospels. Drewski had a great sketch. You should pull up the Drewski sketch. We should watch that. And modern day Christianity has been hijacked. It is not what Jesus taught. Exact. I would say that it's the opposite of what Jesus taught.
I thought Islam also, and this would be interesting to get your take, had been hijacked at some point in the history of the faith by government, and it got twisted. It used to be.
Let's watch this video. This is why Christianity, and this is what it has become, and sadly, this is not what Jesus taught. This is the opposite of Jesus. But there is a church like this, multiple churches in every city in America. So let's watch
I'm gonna have Wanda stand up here. Wanda, please. Wanda told us earlier this month that she could not have a baby anymore. So I impregnated her with the word of God. I'm going to impregnate everyone with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God.
modern day Christianity has become. This is not
I had somebody in the congregation
This
ask
is the
why I'm wearing
collective
Christian
cultism
Dior
that can be
Christian
very
Louboutin.
dangerous, where a bunch of people
'Cause
just
I'm a
feel good
Christian,
because they're together.
and I walk
And then
in the
they say
blood
it's the
of
religion
Jesus.
that's doing it, but it's like the
Give him some
community.
praise. I'm a Christian first,
I'm defending it.
and I walk in the blood of Jesus. Give him some praise.
I mean, I
Give
like the
him
proper
some
circumstance,
praise.
but I
We
just
are
don't think this is
raising
what Jesus taught,
funds
not according to
for
what
a
he said in the
project
Bible.
in
I feel like
Zimbabwe.
Islam
This
has
is
been
the
made.
school.
I don't know
We
enough
tried
about
to
it,
get
but
our
it got
congregation
taken,
over
used
that.
by a government for purposes
Amen.
just like
We wanted to
Catholicism
raise
was by the
$4
Holy Roman Emperor, and then they got
million for that.
militarized almost.
So I don't think Islam militarized, but the thing is, I mean, my opinion is too controversial on this. Muslims are not going to like it, but I do think that Islam was. You're gonna probably get me cancelled, but I do think Islam was Judified a while ago. Yeah.
Judified?
Yeah.
As in,
I've been saying
there's
for
a
years
blending.
Islam
Everybody
is
says
Jewish.
that. Yeah.
Like
It is.
Judaism.
It is. I mean, if you really look into it, there's are a lot of connections.
So I believe that when it comes to original Islam, whether it's the Quran, it's not. But I think over time, because Islam isn't just the Quran, obviously it had other sources.
because
and
Muhammad
scholars.
didn't write the Quran; it was written after.
No,
Muhammad.
he. In my view, he wrote it. Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. He wrote part of it, but I'm just okay. Let's just say.
All of
Let's just say he wrote it all.
Yeah.
There were a lot of connections, and everybody needs to go watch these videos. There's some great videos on it. If you look at the origins of Islam, it has a lot of Jewish connections.
Let's
Like,
get
it's
some more
just-
Discord callers.
Okay, yeah, we'll get
Like
to
what?
Let's
Well,
get some more.
I
Let's
mean-
get some more Discord callers.
Okay, we'll get to Discord.
You know,
All
we
right,
got-
so
I
we
don't think so. I meant afterwards, but not.
Oh, you don't think before? I think
No.
I would say Christianity.
Afterwards.
If you look at Paul, he was Jewish, and I would say Christianity is kind of a hijacked version of.
I think Christianity is so different to Judaism as well.
Well, I think there's
It's
a
like
lot of
the way I
aspects.
see it is like the Jesus in the New Testament is very different to like Jesus God in the Old Testament.
Well, Jesus. I mean, I guess we can argue about it, but Paul, was basically the author of Christianity,
let's
and
do the
Paul
call.
never even met Jesus. Okay, all right.
keeping us under structure.
If Alex is in a plane crash like the movie Alive, would he eat a paralyzed person in order to survive? Since they are both a vegetable and meat, I want to know where he stands. Also, would his answer change if the person was also gay, since they would be a vegetable, a fruit, and a meat? Ooh, man, this guy's a comedy writer. I need to steal this one.
Who was that by from? By the way?
That was Avid. That was very good,
Thanks,
Avid.
Avid.
Actually, well, I think about this all the time, like because I
Eating
don't
people?
eat meat. No, not eating people, but I'm talking about eating meat. And I
Okay.
always think like, if we do have another pandemic and they turn off the internet and they turned off our power and my cats died, maybe I would eat my cat if it was already dead, but I wouldn't kill my cat to eat it. So if I was in the movie Alive, I saw that when I was a young kid. Have you guys seen that movie?
No.
Tate, you're too young. So it's about this soccer team. I think they're in Buenos Aires or wherever they were. They crashed.
Oh, in the mountains.
And they were stuck in a
Oh, yeah.
mountain. And what happened was
Italian.
is people started to die and they were all starving. So they had this moral conundrum. They had no food. They could start a fire, and there was a couple dead bodies. So what they did to survive, they ended up eating the bodies. None of them want to do it. They're like eating in the movie, crying while they're eating
Right.
their friend. So
That's
like,
rough.
And
in-
two survived, right, or something? If I
yeah,
remember
no,
right.
I think
Yeah.
it was maybe more than 2 people
Oh.
survived, but yeah, I think it was only 2. Yeah, it was more than 2.
okay.
I think it was like 5 or 6.
Okay.
But
They ate each other, and it was like a day, and then they get back.
Yeah,
Like, What'd you guys do?
So my point is, if I was on a mountain and that's the only way I could survive and I had to do it, I watched that movie, yes, but I mean, not unless I was in that situation where it was life or death. I mean, I'm not a cannibal. I'm not. What's that? Chrissy Teigen said, "Ooh, I'd like to try human meat." No, I'm not like that crazy. But as a vegetarian, if the person is paralyzed already and they're brain dead, that's technically a vegetable. So. Yeah, in that weird circumstance, stuck in a mountain, trying to survive, I would eat the person.
Would you still tell people you're a vegetarian because they were like
Yeah, I would still
vegetable
count it.
status?
I wouldn't count as a violation. All right, next question. Prioritizer the baby daddy. Okay, well, that's great. This is for you, Sulaiman. Should law enforcement enforce laws? If so, what difference does it make if they do it in one city or all?
No, so law enforcement should definitely enforce laws. I think they're referring to the point I made earlier about being a bit more harsher. I don't think that the US has the capability to go into every single city at the same time and basically round up all the illegal immigrants without causing the issues that happen in Minneapolis. So that's why I'd make it targeted, where I'd target a specific area first and then build from there.
What do you say to that, Tate? What do you think, that law enforcement should enforce the law?
In terms of ICE.
I agree. I agree.
I think
It's
that's
just if
in
it's
the name, yeah.
If it's an evil law enforcement has a duty to defy the order.
But see, they won't. During the pandemic, we learned that they won't. They'll arrest you for not wearing a mask. They'll literally not
And
let
the
you go to
people
church.
will join them.
And the
it's-
people will join.
And
yeah.
people will be like, well, now my opinion is that's an evil law, so I'm going to ignore that. And it's like, that's a slippery slope. But Thomas Jefferson was very clear about it. The founding fathers were very clear about tyrannical law and evil law. But it's like, who decides, the masses of the community, essentially.
Well, we're looking up some more questions. Thank you guys in the Discord. Please give us some questions right now. This has been an interesting Timcast IRL. We just want to say that we love Israel so much. Thank you for all the support you have given us. Bibi Netanyahu, you are justified in everything that you do, and I hope that you get pardoned very soon by
I want to
President
talk about
Trump.
the Abrahamification of society. I think it's society's got pretty Abrahamified over the last
You mean Jewish?
4,000 or 5,000 years. All of it. Christian, it got Jude, it got Islam, it just got.
So we got the secret sauce, Abraham, man.
What about Taoism? I mean, ain't that the one?
Oh, there's a lot of Hindus now. It's kind of part of the problem in America. Big monkey statues. They got their action figures that they pray with. It's getting crazy. I don't know what's going on. in
Hinduism
Dallas.
aside, I think
What is it about Taoism you like?
the flow of nature. I think they figured out what they were talking about the flow of magnetism in the universe, but they didn't have the tools to measure that magnetism was actually a thing. So they just talked about it, but it's flowing through you. You can feel it even, literally.
So we have that in Islam. So we have there's 3 components of Islam, and it might be similar. I don't know about semi-Christian. It's definitely semi-Judaism, but basically it's what you call it again. You've got the theology, so like believing in God, or how is God, or theology. Then you got the law, which is the legal aspect, and then you got the spiritual aspect. And the spiritual aspect of Islam is that type of stuff, like meditation and doing these type of meditative acts, and trying to become spiritually elevated and becoming one with the world and one with God.
Okay. Is that I got more questions. Is that so? There's 3 just vector or 3 areas of Islam. There's law, the theology, and then the actual the spiritual practice itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. I like the spiritual practice.
What?
Yeah, let's go with more
We got
questions.
another one. We need to have a Supreme Court case on gun-free zones, since the Supreme Court ruled twice. The police have no duty to protect. How can they also make it illegal for you to protect yourself and others?
Who is that? It's good to shut up their names. They're
E. Greiger. E. Greiger. Thank
Sorry,
you.
Alex. Can you say that one
I
more
do
time?
need to shout out their name. I. Greiger. E. Greiger. I don't know. EIGREGOR. Yeah, I mean, obviously Phil believes that we should have a right to carry guns. I mean, gun-free zones, I think, are just dangerous for people that are law-abiding citizens, because there's always going to be people breaking the law that have a gun in a gun-free zone.
My experience in Florida, I've spent months here, is I feel so much better walking around outside, looking around, thinking all these people could have guns on them, and they all think I could have a gun on me, and it's really peaceful. So obviously, random bursts of crime are always possible. It feels very secure, believing everyone's armed, walking down the street.
New Hampshire has one of the highest per capita gun ownership, and they've got a murder rate that's lower than Canada. Same thing with Maine.
Yeah.
In fact, not only that, there are more machine guns in the civilian population in New Hampshire than any other state, and the murder rate's lower than Canada.
Sulaiman probably disagrees, but I would argue the more guns you have, the safer you are, because people are more afraid of actually using their gun because there could be somebody returning.
Let's not beat around the bush too. I mean, it's the demographics of New Hampshire certainly help with the murder rate.
That
as well.
definitely helps.
Let's not, let's be honest here.
I mean, okay, let me answer that one, because that one I disagree with. But in terms of the first one, the guns, yeah, I think
he's
that
right.
irrespective, I'm going to answer that one second. But irrespective of what the mode is, people are violent. So I don't think there's any issue with gun. If in the UK, we don't have guns, but we've got knife crime instead. So it just ends up being a substitute. And I do agree, actually, I think guns, well, as being a smaller guy, I'd much prefer having a gun if someone's going to come at me, right? Now, in terms of...
Same, brother. Same. That's why I carry a gun.
In terms of what you said, look, I obviously don't agree. I don't think it's just because of race. I think there's a multitude of factors.
Wow.
It's a factor.
I mean, that has to be a factor.
It's not everything, but it's not nothing.
Well, they always say like Betty White, when there's like a mass shooting, and I'm sure, maybe there are, white people that do shootings, but I would argue that then lately it's been more trans people.
And it's the same thing in the UK.
transgenders.
It's like knife crime by whom?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah.
the question.
The term mass shooting, though, has been twisted outside of what it really means. It used to be in the 90s. There was this phrase that you might not remember.
Going postal, of course.
Yeah, going postal, because it was people that would take a gun to work and kill multiple people. Then the left has taken the idea of a mass shooting and say, well, any time there's a shooting and more than 2 people are shot, it's a mass shooting. But that
they don't do. That's the problem. If they did do that, then we would have like.
Well, that's where
it
they
wouldn't be like a distinctly, because they say it's like, oh, only white people commit mass shootings, but it's like because theirs is like it has to be like purely ideologically driven.
But they flip flop on it because when they're arguing against guns.
Well, because like in Chicago, there's mass shootings all the time, but it doesn't make the news headlines the same way as if it was like at a work.
So who does more school shootings?
Well, if you factor
trans
in
people
like,
now.
Well, no, it's a lot of it's black. Like a lot of it's black.
No,
crime.
I mean actual school shooting, not mass shootings. Because you said mass shootings are just 2 or higher, and
that's what I mean. So I'm saying, but the left, when they're trying to say like it's only white people that commit mass shootings, it's because they have a very narrow definition. Where it's like
they don't count.
the definition of a mass shooting is just multiple people shot.
No, but that's the point. So if they'll use the phrase mass shooting when they're talking about gun violence, or when they're actually talking about we want to strengthen gun laws, because they'll say anytime it's more than 2 people. But there's a distinct difference between a mass shooting at a school, and the term mass shooting brings to mind Columbine, Parkland, people, a bunch of kids getting shot. That's what people think of when you hear mass shooting. But what they're talking about is people at a party at night. Someone shoots at someone at a party, and 2 people get hit because there's a dude behind him. And they say, well, that was a mass shooting because multiple people got hit. There was one intended target, right? Or maybe it was gang violence. But they say that's a mass shooting when it's convenient. But then when it's not convenient in your context, they'll switch the meaning to
what if
be
it's 2 groups? 2 groups and they shoot at each other and 3 people get hit. Is it still mass?
They would call that a mass shooting because again, but it depends on the context. If it's in the context of we want to pass gun control laws, then they'll use that as a mass shooting.
And just to answer your point, I think it's because of social. I think it's based on poverty and a few other reasons. Everybody exhibits violence, but in different ways.
We have a question for you. Somebody said, if you're not American, why do you feel like you have the right to tell us how to run our country?
I'm going to tell you because I teach you it better, but not jokes aside. I think it's...
Well, they said in the last thing is, why won't he focus on the UK?
Yeah, so I do focus on the UK, but I think what it is with the United States of America, it is just so important from a number of perspectives. Whatever America decides impacts the whole world. America has decided to value Christianity a lot more. UK start following suit. America starts speaking about illegal immigration. UK is copying them. Anything America does, the world follows. In addition to that, so that's from a cultural perspective. Then from a political perspective, anything that America decides, whether it goes to war, whether it doesn't, UK follows suit. UK is basically America's puppy dog. And then the third thing is, when whatever decisions America makes impacts the global market, and we're all part of the global market.
All right, good answer. All right, and that last question is somebody said, Alex, can we get more videos of you at city councils and school board meetings? Yes, I'm the Pimp on a Blimp. I got a new show on Real America's Voice where I'll be going all over the country, city councils, school boards, you name it. I'll be there in my tuck-friendly bathing suit going insane for the Ukraine. All right, guys, this has been the episode so far. I think we've had some spirited debates, but I would like to, I guess, give all of us a chance to kind of wrap things up. So with that being said, Sulaiman, you have the floor.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. It's been fun. It's been enjoyable. Really good conversation. You can find me on YouTube. So I started like a new YouTube channel, quite new anyway. I've only been doing it for a month, I think, or 2 months. Sulaiman Ahmed X, where I give the latest geopolitical news, and obviously I run my spaces on there as well. So find me on there. That'd be brilliant.
Well, thank you, Sulaiman. What do you got, Ian?
I got graphene.movie. If you haven't been there yet, go to graphene.movie and check out the trailer for the upcoming nanotechnology documentary I'm working on, Graphene Movie. That's graphene.movie. Also, sign up for the mailing list if you haven't yet. Put your email address in there. And follow me at Ian Crossland. It has indeed been a spirited debate. Here's to many more to come.
Wait, why is graphene bad again?
It's going to jump
black.
over the table.
What?
It's dark.
You've been hanging
dark
around with
black.
this guy too long.
Graphene. It's really graphite. Graphene is the red herring. Graphite. is really where it's at right now.
Well, you know,
it's all hot though.
Didn't Tim have on that Augustus Dorico guy that they're just spraying soda and
I love him.
People
He's a
thought it was in the back.
You like that guy?
Oh, he's a buddy of mine.
You
He's
see
a good
that?
guy.
See, I can already tell why Tate's
a good
retarded
guy.
because he's so young. Because first of all,
Well, it's not 'cause
basically,
he's ginger.
well, that's part
That's
of it.
primarily,
he's
yeah.
kind of a globalist, which
Have you
I'm,
heard
know,
about that where anesthesia doesn't work on you guys?
Yeah. Also, our temperature sensitivity is much higher, so like I can't handle like hot plates or cold.
I mean,
that true?
I've been. Well, you might not know this about me, but I'm the biggest advocate of gingers because they get a lot of abuse and a lot of hate.
I kinda
They
like
say they're
redheaded.
not. They say they're soulless.
Some chicks are kind of hot. with
I'm
redhead.
sorry. Thank you for going to bed. I'll lighten up my Pakistani. You're right. You're so
But real quick, because the show's almost over. Well, how do you like a guy spraying stuff into the sky? You don't know about chemtrails. You think that's cool? And then he was cloud
this would be a
seeding.
whole different debate.
Well, I'm just saying he was cloud seeding less than 24 hours after a horrible flood that killed a bunch of children, and he went on a podcast tour saying, "Oh, we had nothing to do with it. We were just cloud seeding right before it." It's like, dude, I don't want anybody manipulating the weather. I don't want Israel doing it. I don't want Augustus Dorico. I don't want anybody doing it. So yeah, I mean, he's not based at all. He's a fag.
Augustus is doing it so then Israel doesn't have to do it. Where he's supplanting Israeli cloud seeding. He's very base. Actually.
Yeah, by
He's
making
attacking
children
Israeli
flood.
dominance.
Yeah,
But you know, it's funny
literally.
because
If you're anti-Israel, I'm just kidding. That's probably bad.
I'm a lot older than you, but I remember in the summers in Texas when I played high school football, it didn't rain for like 70 days, and then now the summers in Texas it's raining like crazy. So
I have
something's
huge
up.
concerns about people messing around.
They're
with the
definitely
weather.
manipulating the weather, and I think that that's very dangerous for human beings to play God.
Yeah, true. Agree.
Phil.
Tate.
Oh, it's a Tate.
X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. We got 2 installations of Across the Pond coming up for the weekend with Connor Tomlinson. And on Sunday, we had Nathan Halberstadt join us, and we discussed sort of general Zoomer nihilism, especially with the discussion of Trump, obviously, barring institutional buyers from the housing market potentially. So we broke that down and sort of the fact that Zoomers can't actually feel like they can own homes, the implication that has on Zoomers, and contributes to nihilism that's just plaguing our generation. So be on the lookout for those 2 episodes. Again, they're going up on the Culture War channel. Tomorrow, the episode goes up on Connor's, and then Sunday goes up on the Culture War channel. So do not miss it. It's going to be great.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. We are going on tour this spring. In April, we start. April 29th, we'll be in Albany. We're going to go out with Born of Osiris and Dead Eyes. The band is All That Remains. Check us out on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
And we want to thank our sponsors, Bearskin. Is that correct?
Yeah,
You might say
Bearskin.
Bearskin. Everybody go buy Bearskin. And I just want to say thank you to Bibi Netanyahu one last time for everything you do for our country. I'm sorry we haven't started that war with Iran. I hope we turn into a parking lot very soon for you. And, maybe you guys do run the world, but hey, you guys are the ones that deserve to do it because you're the smartest, most beautiful, and the most talented. So we love you, Israel. Say you love Israel, Sulaiman, one time.
We'll never ever say it.
Why not? You can't say you
Bruv.
love Israel?
Bruv.
Dude, we're going to get canceled.
like-
Just say it. Or
I
they're
can't
gonna,
do after.
we're going to get canceled,
Cut the
Sulaiman.
feed, Serge.
That's
Cut
like
the
saying-
feed.
Yeah, cut the
It's
feed.
going
We
on
love
too long.
Israel.
Cut
Even
it.
the
Gal
brown
Gadot's
guy loves
hot.
Israel.
Gal Gadot
You're
is
going to
very
go touch
hot.
the wall.
No,
you need to go to
do not
Holocaust
go to the
Museum.
wall. Do not
We
go to
love
the wall.
you,
Better not be
Israel.
allowed.
Thank
Go
you.
to Hadrian's Wall and pray on that. That's the middle ground. It's a great wall.
Or-
Gal Gadot is very
no,
hot.
Go to the one in Jerusalem or
No,
Tel Aviv
don't-
or wherever
don't go
it is.
to it.
I don't even
Don't
know
go
where
to
the
it.
hell it is. Go to it and
Your soul
kiss
matters.
it. No, your soul gets into heaven by kissing it, or do they believe in heaven? I don't know. I forget.
You
but
don't
I'll
have
tell you
souls.
this much.
You don't have a soul.
Gal Gadot's
Maybe
hot.
not, but I'll tell you what I do have is I have love for you, the viewer at home. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and Tim is in jail. When he gets bonded out, he's going to be back on this show. He's in jail for murder. Somebody was in front of his car, and he actually ran him over. Unlike that bitch Renee Good,
listening
Tim
to this
doesn't
guy.
mess around. He hits the gas hard, and he does not stop till the person is smashed like a bug. So with all that being said, thank you for watching Timcast IRL. We love you. Peace and good night.